새로운 역사의 시작 ASL
쉬지 않고 복주하는 열타처럼
열고 뚫어요 의 역사적인 기록을
도로까지 이거 개발해서
돌리고 마이크로
훨씬 더 노련해졌고 굉장히 드라마틱한
바닥부터 시작해서 11년
역사상 최고의 선수.
테란의 새로운 왕조의 가을의 기적을 시즌 연속 우승 정부 왕조의 트로피를 이어받는 새로운 우승자의 이름을
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the ASL. I'm Tastosis, with me as Tastosis, and man, feels like it's been forever.
Oh, it really does. And it is so unbelievably good to be back. Welcome, everybody, to ASL Season 21. I think that this is going to be remembered as one of the most legendary seasons of all time. I know we've had some great seasons lately, but Flash is back, and he's saying that he's treating this as his final ASL, and he's going for the victory. Could anything be more exciting?
Crazy to have him back. I mean, he's been off and on, right? Taking various breaks here, as well as going through additional issues with his wrist and forearm, which means we didn't know if he was ever going to be able to play again, but he's here now. Hopefully his condition remains, and this is going to be a moment where we can really answer some questions. You know, with Flash back in the picture, is he still the most dominant? I think a lot of the players have grown quite a bit, and it's going to be a challenging season even for him.
For sure it will be. You know, everything has advanced a lot since last time he's in. It's been a lot of years. Here is a brief schedule of what it's looking like. Of course, we want to update you guys on what our schedule is going to be looking like. We cast each group the next day, and then it will air live on our SOOP channels, and then it will be uploaded to YouTube a couple days later. So that's basically the schedule that we will be on throughout the season. This first week is a day late because I had my wisdom teeth out. So I had, we couldn't record at the normal time. We had to push everything back one day exactly this week. Sorry about that, guys.
And also, I want to be clear. So it's going to be on our SOOP channels first.
Yes.
That's the deal that SOOP wanted this season. We both have new SOOP channels on there. That's not behind a paywall or anything.
Yeah.
It's on the same internet you're watching us on if you're on YouTube right now. So if you want to watch as it comes out, you're welcome to go there and check it out. But that's the way it's going to be. So we're getting these recorded and released at the same time, but they're uploaded to YouTube slightly later because they wanted people to get on the SOOP site and try to see it there first before it goes out to the masses.
That's right. That's right. And the VOD will be available there and everything on both of our channels. And we'll be putting the links all over the Patreon and social media and all that, so everyone is able to find it pretty easily. Now, taking a look at the map pool for this season, I think it is a very nice map pool overall. And it definitely seems like they've gone a little bit more Terran favored this season than in previous. This is a normal rotation. Normally, the maps eventually have to go Protoss favored, but Protoss have been doing a bit better. Terran has been pretty weak for the last couple of years. Not really great finishes for them. So I don't know about your idea, Tasis, but I definitely feel like this pool is definitely favoring Terran a bit more than the previous few.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I think this could be Terran favored for sure. I guess we got to see when the games really pan out here. What I do like is that they've gone with more, I guess, kind of standard laddery maps.
Yeah.
And they've veered, and I've been talking about this for the last, I think, 2 years, is that it's okay to have some crazy maps, but occasionally we had too many crazy maps and not enough maps that, like, you really saw classic StarCraft on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that at ASL, they've done a really good job of adjusting this and trying to have that balanced out in a way that keeps it interesting and entertained. You know, a lot of people that watch still play in Korea.
Yeah.
This is a very, very active game out here. So a lot of people watch to learn strategies. Obviously, there are still people that watch simply for entertainment. You know, obviously they know the units and how the game works, but they want to see some craziness on the maps. And I do feel like ASL has kind of found the right number of maps to be close to standard while having interesting ideas, and then having a few totally insane maps.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, this is a look at our players. As you can see, the Protoss line is a bit thin. And in fact, we're missing Mini. That is kind of the big story of this season. Both Mini and Effort, not in this season. Effort actually missed signups. And so that's like kind of a sad reason to have the only player with a positive best-of-5 record against Flash in the world will not be playing. And of course, Mini is always a lot of fun, but did not quite go his way. Meanwhile, we have just a gaggle of Terrans. It is absurd how many Terran players we have this season.
Yeah, there's going to be TVTs, almost every day here of the ASL.
I know you're looking forward to Group E,
I imagine
Tasteless.
this numbers. Yeah, right. This is my dream come true, guys. You're finally going to get the real knowledge bombs. I couldn't get all my ideas about TVT out. It's such a long matchup, but I knew so much more about it. But, in all seriousness, I think a lot of the Terrans are probably going to be slowly wiped out. This happens sometimes. And, Artosis was saying, looks like it's a lot of Terran favored maps here. So it's not too shocking to see a number of Terrans come through. I think we have 14 total here.
Yeah.
And then you have to keep in mind, like, the deeper we go, probably most of those guys are going to fall off. And it's probably going to even out to more, Terran, Protoss, Zerg golden ratio.
Yeah.
Look.
I would be shocked if we don't have 3-3-2 in the round of 8. That's kind of where everything gets balanced every single season, no matter what race has a lot of players earlier on. Like, yeah, I mean, we have so many Terrans in this first round. There's no way the round of 16 won't have a bunch of Terrans, but I do think by the time around of 8, you're going to look at the lineup and be like, yes, this is who should be here. So that I think the tournament is only going to become better and better. And in fact, one thing I just want to tease you guys with, right? Like, Flash is playing and he looks like he is the best player in the world. I was watching his stream. He actually started hiding a lot of his practice lately. But something to note, Bisu, top 4 last season, almost beat Soma in that round of 4. And Jaedong actually has the highest win rate in the Korean Pro League right now of everybody. So all 3 of those guys, like, can you imagine? I'm getting chills right now. Can you imagine, Tasteless, if somehow we get like a Jaedong, Bisu, Flash in the top 4, like finals type thing? There would be nothing more hype in the whole world.
Well, I think it's possible. Bisu's improved quite a bit, and you're saying Jaedong is in
We
that
are finally
conversation.
back. Hello and welcome to ASL Season 21, done in partnership with Google Play. It's time to start the ASL once again with the sudden onset of spring. We're in the age of the reign of Zerg, as Protoss and Terran will be looking to strike back and write a new page in history. And today, in the opening group of the ASL, Group A, we do indeed have 3 Terrans and 1 Protoss. Let's have a word with our players. Hello. Hello. First up, we have Sharp, who qualifies having won the Open Season Tour. It seems to me you're in top shape going into today. It takes me back to the times you would sit out the qualifiers and enjoy watching them. Did you get to watch the qualifiers? It was reassuring seeing that I won the Open Season Tour and I didn't have to play in the qualifiers. With this group, I am a little nervous, but today should be fun. A lot of people have high expectations for you. Now, given the last 2 seasons you ended your run in the round of 16, you must also be determined to make a rebound this time around. In any case, I knew I had to deliver after the time I was a runner-up. But I soon realized results follow when I try to enjoy the games. So I'll try to enjoy playing today too. And will his first opponent be able to stop Sharp having fun? Let's talk to Scan as well. Hi. Hi. You make a return after 2 seasons. On your blog, you made it known that you found the qualifiers to be arduous this season. What got under your skin so? Well, I consider myself to be lacking in terms of performance in comparison with the other players. Not even looking at the ASL points, I am right at the very bottom. There were tough players in each and every qualifier group. I knew I would have to work hard. I did, and at the very end, I made it through. Right. And you did have a nigh perfect run in that second round of qualifiers to make it into the tournament proper. Now, Season 19 was not only the first time you scored a win in the ASL, but he also made the round of 16. If you were to compare the group back then to the group you are in now, how would you rate them? I have a feeling that today's group is slightly more difficult than the one back then. Which player makes you feel this group is of a higher difficulty? Both Mong, sitting next to me, or Rain over there, they are extremely good. And you are excluding your first opponent, Sharp? You're chatting there, talking only about Mong and Rain. Does that mean you're confident about the first game? I prepared well, I think I can get a good result. Sharp is here looking to enjoy himself. I'll send him home. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to this first match as Scan wants to send Sharp packing. But I'm also excited to have Rain here. Hello. Hello. It's been a while since you got to play in front of a live audience like this. How are you feeling? This feels fresh, makes me feel like a rookie. In what regard? Because I'm playing in a tournament again after a break, so I'm a little nervous. Nah, positively anxious. Oh, well, rookies are usually nervous, isn't that so? Makes me ever so curious to see what happens, seeing how experienced you are. Today's group is made up entirely of Terran opponents for you. I'd like to hear how that sits with you. This is Terran hell. Actually, the maps are really good for Terran this time, I concluded during practice. I thought it might be difficult, but as I kept playing, I think I found the right answers. I'll show that in the games. The games themselves will show what I've got, says Rain. There's one more player who will have to do the same. It's Mong. Hi. Hi. You've been on the up and up lately. I bet many fans will have high expectations for you. But above all, your current form is most important, is it not? I would say it's not too bad. I also heard that after getting eliminated in the round 24 last time, your mindset changed? Well, more so than that. Last season I fumbled my mousepad. It kept getting rolled up, curled up. It ended up costing me the game. Today, I made sure to bring a more sturdy mousepad. I think it should be fine. With your mousepad laid out flat and sturdy, I wonder if your performance will be just like so as well. In the qualifiers themselves, you took down Mini. And last Saturday, you received praise for having taken down Flash. There's a lot of talk of you possibly going very, very far indeed. Do you think a first place finish today is possible? Well, I keep getting matched against all of these monsters, so my skill just naturally goes up as well. I feel that getting to the stage where we play extended series might be a doable goal to achieve. That's what I'm thinking this season. Mong going into this season with fresh motivation, it would seem. I want to dive a little deeper with our discussion. Now, as far as Sharp and Mong go, they actually did play in the lead-up to this season. They met twice on the second day of the Open Tour, in the opening match of the round of 4, as well as the decider match. And both times the victory went to Sharp. But it's been a few weeks since, and the atmosphere has changed noticeably. What do you think, Sharp? Can you sense a wind of change? People have been calling him God Mong recently, but don't make me laugh. If he makes it into the winners match, I'm going to have some fun. It does somewhat feel like Sharp is low-key expecting you to make it into the winners match, Mong. If you were to play Sharp, another strong Terran like Flash, how do you think that would go? Well, honestly, I don't think he is an easy opponent. I would have to do well in order to win. Considering you're fresh of those losses against Sharp today, might be a good chance for you to get some payback. Now, just like I asked a moment ago, your track record against Zerg and Protoss in the ASL is quite outstanding, Rain. However, you have been thrown off by Terran before. I would like to hear how you feel about overcoming that Terran obstacle today if you were to play that match. It's not that I lack confidence, but the results just aren't there. So it seems I can't play PvT. But Mong, I should beat.
지금 가장 상승가도를 달리고 있는
Mong is the Terran I have the highest chance of beating, says Rain. So who would you say is the most demanding one? However you look at it, Sharp gets good results, he plays well. I think he's the most demanding. We're getting a little contrast between the aura of Rain and the Terrans in this group now. Scan, you showed what a tier 4 player can do back in Season 19, and you need to keep riding that wave today before the momentum disappears. What do you think you can bring to the table in a TVT against Mong or Sharp? You still don't have a victory against Terran. Right, so far on the ASL stage I have 0 wins against Terran. I will change that record today. It seems all 4 of our players today have clear goals ahead of themselves. Let's close things out with their final words of resolution, starting with Rain. I'm back in the ASL after a while. I'll try and have a good showing today. Thank you. Can't wait. Sharp? I'm always excited to play in the ASL, and a lot of fans showed up today. I'll play good matches and go home without regrets. Looking forward to it. Scan, I'm back on the stage after 1 year. I'll show you good games. We'll watch closely. Mong, I can't lose to a League of Legends streamer. I will beat Rain whatever comes. What determination from Mong to close things out here. Looking forward to great games from the 4 of you. Thanks for the interview. Who will claim victory in the first matches of Google Play ASL Season 21? Let's kick things off and find out.
All right. So, here you can see what tiers they have been assigned based on recent ASLs and everything. Sharp as Tier 1, Scan as Tier 4 with Rain and Mong in the middle. I tell you what, Tasteless, this group actually scares me for the Protoss line. I think that this is, you could not have really made a harder group for Rain to get out of.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I think he can do it. I think he's got a shot for sure. I think it should be Sharp, Rain advancing, but I could see either Mong or Scan moving on here. I think Sharp gets out 100% no matter what. What about you?
Yeah, I think you're right that Sharp is the most favored in this group. But the thing is, if you wanted me to pick 3 absolute Terran vs. Protoss killers that were all different styles, I would literally choose these 3. Sharp is very harassment-based. Mong is a pure macro Terran, and Scan is the most well-rounded Terran in the world right now. And I'm not just saying that. He is unbelievable. And his Terran vs. Protoss in the ASL qualifiers was godly. So was Mong's. And of course, Sharp won in ASL Open. He's always a killer in these tournaments. So I look at this and I'm like, dude, I actually think Mong will beat Rain. It's crazy. This is if you're a Protoss player, this is the worst 3 Terran group you could make.
It's a tough one for sure. It's going to be really tricky. I mean, I think Rain prepares very well. And I always like the way that he has a very straightforward approach to the matchup and his opponents in the map. But I think you're right. All 3 of these Terrans are very, very good against Protoss in general. They're just strong in the matchup. And, sometimes we say maybe it's easier for the guy that has only one matchup to be ready for. Right?
Yeah,
because he only has to practice out one thing. But, Protoss need a lot of different ways to approach the matchup generally to beat Terran. And he's going to be putting a lot of his material out here. I mean, he's going to have to basically show everything that he's got in PvT if he's going to beat all of these different Terrans. He can't come in here with just one build order and recycle it over and over.
That's for sure, especially considering everything's best of 1. So this first match, Sharp against Scan. You can see, Scan is newer to ASL. This is ASL number 4 for him, I want to say. But he's been doing better and better. He's in great shape right now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if he can make it out of this group. It's a tough one, but I know that he has the skill level to be able to do it. It's just Sharp is known as a tournament player. Sharp is so much better in tournaments than if you watch him grind on ladder or in Pro League or something like that. He is so much better when you come into these high stress prepped matches. The guy never gives up. He wins so many games from any position. So I think it's going to be a very tough first game here for Scan.
I think you're right about that. I like that you pointed out that Sharp's a tournament player. Scan, I would put more in the latter category.
Sure.
And I mean, I think most players out there, excuse me, most players out there are in the latter category, right? It's a very different beast to be able to hack and slash your way through, several different people all on the same day or all on the same tournament, and when all of their prep is going into that. So should be an interesting one going into this Sharp versus Scan here in this best of one TVT on the map Octagon.
I'm giddy, Tasteless. I can't wait.
We're back. We're back. Okay, so we've got Sharp here in the bottom left, and we've got Scan here in the top left. And I want to do some quick housekeeping here, since this is probably going to be the part of the show that everybody sees, since it's the start of the game.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we're releasing ASL at the same time we normally do, but it's going to be on the SOOP website first. That's not behind a paywall. We each have channels on SOOP. This was SOOP's idea, by the way. They're the ones that are making us do this. But if you want to watch at the regular times when it comes out, you need to be checking on our SOOP pages. We'll put information in that in the description. Yeah, we're also recording this on different mics. We were recording this on headset mics previously because we used to cast this next to each other, and we kept using those mics, and it occurred to us, like, why are we doing that? We're in different rooms now.
Yeah.
We can record with higher quality mics, so you may notice an audio improvement. Let us know what you think, or if you preferred the old way. And then obviously, please go to Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. We would love to earn your support. We are only able to do this because of you guys.
Yes.
And you guys have been amazing. So if you haven't signed up already, please do so.
Yeah, and if you're at all confused about where everything is and the timing of that, again, it'll be on our SOOP channels, which we will advertise very, very heavily. And the VOD will be there. It'll be live, done live there as well. And yeah, of course. Oh, some big Scan fans in the audience. All right. And also, it will be on YouTube on the regular SOOP YouTube channel that it always is. I believe approximately 2 days after the broadcast on SOOP. So there you go. And we'll make sure to reiterate this a bunch of times, and it'll be on, we'll put the word out there on our streams and Twitter and whatever. So, yeah. So we got to, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, so if you're a normal YouTube watcher, you can just wait for it to show up in the algorithm. If you're diehard and you want to find out, hours after we've aired it, it's on our SOOP. So just to be clear, to wrap that up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so looking at this game, it is a very, very fast command center here, command center first for Scan. And Sharp is doing a factory expand, but he's going to find Scan last. So this is the best opener Scan could ever get. Like, command center first in Terran vs. Terran is by far the strongest build order. It's kind of like, it's even more so than Nexus first in Protoss vs. Terran. Like, Nexus first and Protoss vs. Terran is ridiculously strong. But in Terran vs. Terran, like, I've mentioned this maybe a couple times in the past that people could have heard, but like, I was having such a bad time playing against command center first that I downloaded 150 top level Terran vs. Terran games and put everything into a spreadsheet to look at win rates. And it is no joke. Command center first has by far the highest win rate, but it does auto die if you have a proxy barracks, right? Like if you happen to catch it with that, it auto dies. So it is a very risky build in that regard. But other than that, it just gets you really well ahead. So Sharp is going to see this and he's not going to be happy about it.
Yeah, that's going to be frustrating. The bunker's done. There's no way to really react in time. I guess we'll see if there's some kind of technique Sharp has to use against this. But, this is one of the things about going for these Nexus first or, 3 hatcheries as Zerg, command center first as Terran. These are greedy plays. And I think in the early days of StarCraft, people would look at this and go, well, this is kind of stupid. I mean, if they rush you, you lose, right? And it's like, yeah. But if they don't rush you, you're going to be in a very, very comfortable game. You don't necessarily win, or you don't win in any kind of outright fashion, but you're just ahead. I mean, you have twice the number of bases as them for a little bit here. And so a lot of times the other players advanced tech can't really, you can't really harness that in a way to punish somebody who's on a quick base.
Yeah, and the factory expansion opener that Sharp has done here, like, it doesn't have a lot of play to do any damage. It's kind of like a well-rounded build. But the funny thing is, he's going to try to run by the bunker. You got to pull your SCVs super fast here, and Scan was not fast on pulling those, unfortunately. This is going to make it a little bit harder, and he's going to lose a little bit, but you know what? He dealt with that okay still. But that was actually a pretty good move from Sharp. One thing to note is Sharp does have some very good builds if he scouts your command center first right away. Like if he scouts you first, or even with like maybe second, he has some really cool builds that actually I have stolen from him to deal with command center first. But scouting this last has made it difficult. Scan is going for 3 Factory Vulture, and it looks like Sharp is doing this too. But Scan's position for this is going to be a little bit stronger because he's going to be up a little bit as far as SCVs goes.
Yeah, I mean, Scan's basically getting such a nicer income here. I did like the Vulture run-in. I like the fact that he got in, killed some SCVs in a Marine, and then actually got back out with one, which makes a difference when you are amassing Vultures like this. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't think either side can really do that much to each other for the time being, especially not in a Vulture arm race.
And kind of interesting from Sharp, he really plays his own Terran versus Terran. He does not follow any sort of standard meta or anything. Like here, he's gone 3 Factory Vulture against 3 Factory Vulture with the Factory Expansion against Command Center first. And that's just considered kind of weak because they're just going to get more Vultures out. Their 3 factories finish before your 3 factories, and they have the option to add more. And he actually went mines first, not speed. So he's laid some very defensive mines out. And he kind of has to sit defensively like you see with his Vultures. Scan is going to go down and scout with just a single Vulture. He's going to see like, oh, you actually have mines, not speed. So he's going to keep that in mind. And, I think at least we can say from the way that Sharp has opened this, he's not in trouble of like dying or anything. He's got those nice defensive mines. His production is strong. And the game like looks like it can go into like a much longer kind of big macro game where maybe Sharp has opportunities to outplay Scan.
Yeah, I guess, you don't see this that often, like in ASL, but yeah, usually when one player is behind, the other one tries to do something dramatic, but instead Sharp kind of just staying back, staying conservative, and kind of trusting the late game that he can find an opportunity in there. And a lot of TVT is like that, by the way. I mean, you have a lot of these, I think maybe Flash is the best at this in TVT, is some of these like kind of quick build order judo flip like builds. Where you kind of turn the game on its head and get a positional win. But a lot of TVT can be quite grindy. And I do think Sharp is probably going to be a better player in a game like that.
For sure. Like, Sharp, the longer the game goes, if he's not... Like, okay, so Sharp, the way he opens, generally, he is almost always behind at the beginning of the game at top level. I kid you not. Like, if you look at the standard metrics of Terran versus Terran, he almost never has map control. He almost always is just behind in some way, and then he just fights back because he's so good at grinding it out. He's like the best dropship user in the world in Terran versus Terran, and that includes Flash. Like, he is just so good tactically in this matchup. And I feel like that's, well, it's not exactly what we're looking at. Scan is a little bit out of position here with his other Vultures, so this big attack from Sharp is actually doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean, the mine was pretty incredible there. He manages to get some of the other Vultures and tanks behind. I mean, that was pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
Taking the tank out. The Vultures are funny. They're honestly quite bad against tanks if they're just shooting, right? But if you get enough of them and plant mines, they kind of get in the way of everything, and there's not really an easy way to get away. So nice play there by Sharp.
No, Sharp has done such an excellent job here. This is very, very impressive. This is like... When I watch Sharp play Terran versus Terran, it gives me hope because he gets into these positions where it's like, ooh, like your build order should be behind here. And then he does something like that. And you're like, wait, what? You can do that? Like he has tanks and Goliaths and Vultures and you still ran in and did that and have more map control than him right now. It's just Sharp really showing his level here.
So we see the mineral expansion being taken here from Sharp. Now, this is where I'm a bit out of my depth here, Tastosis. In my mind, I always thought you wanted to get gas spaces, but is this sort of like you just take that because it's close and that'll give you more minerals for a command center to go somewhere else?
In this case, it's definitely because it's close. Like the one above his base, he can't really take because that's so easy for Scan to put pressure onto. And the one to the side is so far out of position, it's going to be really difficult for him to take that and maintain it. He just wanted to get a base up, so he's taking the mineral. But you're right, you want the gas bases. The mineral bases don't matter nearly as much, but you can kind of just take the mineral base and use that to get some other bases and keep your vulture production high.
Ooh, I love to dive in here to get the extra shots with the vulture on the tank, so his tank could two-shot that. The center of this map is an open, flat, blank area, which means you need a real big spread of tanks and mines and everything else to protect this. You know, some maps, there's a lot more valleys and narrow pathways, and that does make TVT containing and outmaneuvering a little bit difficult here, but you can see both sides are having to really stretch out here. And the no man's land is already being created here, just kind of horizontally through the middle of the map here.
Now, it looks like Scan wants to take this mineral base. He is taking his, he is taking the mineral base, but he wants to take this gas base as well, it looks like, which isn't very uncommon, right? Like, he's already got a siege line, so it kind of makes sense to just take two bases at once. In the meantime, Sharp is just ramping up his production, and there you go. See, he throws that extra base down. It kind of reminds me of, like, how Snow plays Protoss vs. Zerg on maps with a third base that's a mineral only. You know how he, like, he'll take that base, and then he'll just instantly take a fourth as well. And it's like, I've been seeing that more and more Terran versus Terran lately, where it's like, okay, yeah, you took the mineral base, but you can't sit on that. You do need the additional gas. So you just kind of take both of them.
Yeah. You know, Sharp has already gotten his jabs in. In a game that he was behind in, he's basically a little bit ahead now. With his new base already up and mining. Scan did just get his, but yeah, 6 o'clock's going to finish a little bit quicker. Scan's going to try to wrap around and hit this weak point here. He takes out both of the tanks, which opens up half of the middle over here. But you got to be careful. If you overextend here, you can be punished pretty easily. This map, by the way, and this has been a feature on a lot of the maps in StarCraft, one specifically, in the last couple of years, is basically having this like center open area that connects everything, but also having this square shaped or maybe diamond shaped is a better term for this map, other area that you can only move through. And we're seeing like these vultures there are moving through that area. There's this whole other pathway through there up to the high ground around to 12 o'clock that you're seeing taken advantage of a lot. And so these are pretty complicated to move around through in StarCraft 1. Remember, you don't have that many, you don't have unlimited control groups. If you right click in the wrong part of the map, that can split your army very easily. And, you know, if you happen to think you're going one way and your army just goes entirely in the other way, you can be punished pretty badly there as well.
I tell you, it's amazing watching Sharp play like this. Like, his execution in this game is unreal. I can't even believe the amount of vultures that he has right now. He is macroing like a god. And, like, the timings of his bases are pretty much perfect. His unit movement is amazing. Scan is getting caught off guard by how many vultures are moving around the map. The thing is, Scan did move down that right side a little bit, like you mentioned. So there might be, like, if he can get this game to keep going for a while, like, there might be some counterplay that he can do by taking the right side of the map and sectioning Sharp off from that a little bit.
I mean, Sharp just looks so much stronger.
Yeah, he does.
Than Scan does. I mean, he's in more places at once. He even got his wraiths out just in time here. He should go for that SCV if he can see it, but even taking the tanks out there is going to be nice. But yeah, he's been punishing 12 o'clock. He's been hitting the mineral-only base. I mean, this is looking really rough here for Scan. Sharp at 162 supply. His Scan's 138. And it just feels like Scan is very squeezed here. Sharp is not really overextending in any one area. In fact, now he sees there's going to be weakness up here and dives in. He's going to wipe the tanks out up here, possibly going for 12 o'clock.
Dude, Sharp's TVT is really something else to watch here. Like, the way he's just, like, methodically doing everything, too. He's, like, really smart about the way he's pushing. He's got 2 tanks on the side pushing that mineral base. At the same time, he's like, okay, now we bring wraiths up and force you to go turrets and kill a couple tanks. And now I move my whole army to the right side and bust everything over there and lay a bunch of mines. And he's expanding to the bottom right during all of this. It's absurd. The guy is so strong in TVT.
Yeah, I mean, this mineral-only base, he's going to have to lift it or it's going to burn down. Meanwhile, Sharp's already filling in the bottom right. I don't know that this game's going to end right away, but it does seem like the writing is kind of on the wall, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not looking very good for Scan right now. Like, he's had a hard time keeping these bases up, but his supply is still high enough that there's still comeback potential. Like, he's got to shore up the center a little bit. You can see how frantic he's been. He's got like a lot of SCVs down here. But yeah, he doesn't have the reinforcing units here to stop this push. If he had even one extra group of units to run in front of that, he would have been fine. And this is almost a killing move from Sharp. Like, he is just, the fact that he's taking this area right in front of that giant ramp, if you can contain that, the map is just cut off for your opponent. And what is he supposed to do? He either busts out or tries like drop ships, and that's not going to work, most likely.
Yeah, the tank count is still remaining pretty high here, too, for Sharp, where Scan is really bleeding tanks out. Like, all of these are going to go down over here. I don't know, man. This may be GG.
Really, really superbly done. Like, I am incredibly impressed with how Sharp has played this game out. Scan is definitely going to be going that loser match. GG. Wow. Just wow. And now, I still think that Scan has chances to get out of this group. But he's got to be hoping that Sharp wins the group right now, because that's a TVT that I'm like, I think you actually need Flash to be able to challenge the level Sharp plays this matchup at.
You know, he didn't take any risks when he saw he was behind. And you don't see that all the time, by the way, to be like, well, I guess I'm behind. We're just going to go ahead and play from a bad position. But he did. And he knew that he was basically mechanically strong enough that all he had to do was let his macro catch up and let his ability to multitask kick in. And he was just hitting Scan from so many sides. Scan eventually just crumbled in the mid game.
Yeah. It was really masterfully done. Scan is probably in a little bit of shock that his command center first got rolled by a factory first like that. Not something you normally see. Anyways, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, Rain versus Mong.
Noche lenta, luz coral, tu silueta se me va. Paso corto, piel fatal, me provoca sin hablar. Humo dulce, mirada fiel, te acercas y todo arde. Pégate lento, sin razón, boca cerca, tentación. No es promesas ni finales, ese roce, ven y déjalo. Pégate lento, sin razón, boca cerca, tentación. No es promesas ni finales, ese roce, ven y déjalo esta noche. Ven y déjalo esta noche. Tu silueta a pie de control, risa baja, pez en choca. Esto dice no, pero tiembla como yo cuando el aire se rompió. Sin mañana no hay señal que este fuego quede igual. Pégate lento hasta el final. Pégate lento sin razón, boca cerca, tentación. No es promesas ni finales, ese roce, ven y déjalo. Pégate lento sin razón, boca cerca, tentación. No es promesas ni finales, ese roce, ven y déjalo esta noche. Ven y déjalo esta noche.
Welcome back, everybody.
ASL
Thank you for
Season
waiting.
21
We're going to go
24강
into the
A전
next
경기
best of one
함께하고
match
계십니다.
here.
앞서 펼쳐졌던 오늘의 첫
After
번째 경기에서는
Sharp really
조기석
flexing
선수가
on
날카로운
Scan there.
경기력으로
A
유승권
really,
선수를
really good
잡아내고
TVT.
먼저
Yeah,
승자전을
that was
펼칩니다.
honestly
이어지는 두 번째
absurd. Like
경기
I'll be going
만나보시기에
back and
앞서서
rewatching that
여러분을
later
위해 준비된
because
이벤트
I'm like,
안내해드리겠습니다.
how does that even work? Like Scan has 3 factories up before Sharp and then gets overwhelmed even when he switches into Goliath tank. And Sharp like macroed so well, like the third base with really good time. The amount of vultures he had going around the side of the map while still having enough tanks to not necessarily die in the center. Oh my god. Well, that's the thing though. I think that's actually where Scan messed up now that I'm saying it. Is like when Sharp had like 20 vultures going around the side, if Scan had just taken his whole army and pushed to the south, he wins the game. Like he'll break those like 5-6 tanks super easy. Sharp would have been way out of position and it would have taken him a long time to get his counterattack off. So I think Scan did make some mistakes there, but great play from Sharp.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that, every once in a while you have these games where like you just can't get a third base up because it happens in all the matchups, right? Something is sniping your worker, and like that happens maybe 2 times or 3 times, and you're just slowed down so much,
Yeah.
like you're just not able to develop.
Yeah.
And you don't see it that often in pro games, but that was a moment you did.
No, like sniping a worker trying to make a new base, people actually underestimate how strong that is. In fact, a lot of Flash's Terran versus Protoss right now is based off of just sniping the probe going to the third base. It's actually hilarious to watch him play TVP right now because it's so strongly based off that.
It's so crazy, right? Like a lot of these games, the third base or the fourth base, you really need to get it up fast.
Yeah.
And if that's slowed down by like even 30 seconds to a minute,
Huge difference.
oh my god,
Huge.
it's huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're so slowed down. And it just seemed like Sharp was very able to do that. He was able to punish the third base when Scan did have it up and force the SCVs to leave and the command center to lift. And that all adds up over time.
Yeah.
So, I think Scan not maybe able to harness the economic advantage he had versus the mechanical abilities of somebody like Sharp.
Mhm.
But now we're going to go into a TVT here. Rain, our only Protoss.
Yeah, our only Protoss here today, a former champion, in my opinion, the most talented Protoss ever, but doesn't take the game as seriously as the other Protoss players, right? Like he streams all sorts of games. He just kind of is active when he wants to be active, but still can just casually like roll up to a round of 8, round of 4 pretty easily. He's really something else. Some people try to act like he has weak Protoss vs. Terran. I think that's because Light 4-0'd him in that one finals. But I really don't feel like that's the case. I think he's very strong, very smart in Protoss vs. Terran. He plays it a bit differently from the other guys. But I think that Mong is a really good matchup against him stylistically, because Mong is just a really strong, like, macro Terran. Just kind of blanket defense, macros up. He's going to have, you know, similar units to Light or Flash during a push, and you're going to have to abuse him in other ways.
Yeah, I do think Rain has this very straightforward approach to the game that makes him actually someone really good to study.
Yes.
If you're trying to learn the game, I think that he's got builds that on their face, you know, you can kind of see what he's trying to do.
Yep.
They're not overly complicated. That's not to say he might, you know, not have. Oh, it's Firebat Hero. Nice. Yeah. That's not to say he might not have, you know, other extremely crazy builds that are going to come out here. But a lot of times he just sort of makes the matchup easy for him.
Yes.
And plays into whatever the weakness of the you know, opponent or the matchup or the map might be.
I love that you said that, Tastosis, that he makes it easy for him, because I like you know, I do Tastosis casts where I cast a game every single day, and someone in the comments said the most brilliant thing about Rain and how he plays, because I try to describe how he's so genius and so talented, and it's like a lot of times, like, someone really genius about something will just find an easy way to do a hard thing.
Yeah.
And that's
100%.
basically what you just said there, I think, where it's like, oh, yeah, no, this is exactly it. Like, he looks at the game through a different lens and makes it look easy what he's doing.
Yeah, I think some other Protoss players, they're doing things that are so complex. This is true for the other matchups, too, that sometimes someone who can just kind of look at it in the simplest way is going to have the most success.
I feel like you're calling out Mini there, but...
Well, I mean, Mini's a great example, right? Mini does these crazy razor edge. You know, you've got to play perfectly, and there's definitely these chaotic parts to it that if you try to go back and play them yourself, even though it looks really strong, you go, oh man, there's so much to know just to make this work. By the way, it looks like Rain, is he going to be making his pylon on the low ground here, or on I guess not on the low ground, on the outside of his natural here? So this is probably going to be a gateway build.
Yeah. Does look that way. That makes me a little bit nervous if he's going to open Zealot against Mong. Who knows? Like, maybe Mong does something crazy like Command Center first or tries to take a gasless expansion. But if Mong plays a very standard opener, like, I don't know if you've noticed, there's like this rotation in the metagame where, like, the more Zealots that are made early game, the more heavily Terran goes towards factory expansion, and the less that are made, the more they go towards gasless expansion. Because, like, if you're doing a regular factory expansion with, like, 3 Marines and a Zealot, I mean, 3 Marines and a Vulture, I want to see a Zealot, you know? I'm like, right. Oh, good, he slowed himself down with that, and that can't deal damage to me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I've never really thought of it that way, but I think you make a really good point. It's been interesting to see this build pretty consistently be not ever the most used build, but always, like, there in every ASL season. This is a really extremely old idea that I'm kind of blown away is still used today.
Yeah.
Is basically using the gateway as part of a wall-in that you would expand to later on, but having the opportunity to send a Zealot out that gets there a little bit quicker and can kind of punish the Terran. Some of the original builds on this, they were used on maps like Lost Temple, and other old maps that I can't remember the names of now, but basically you would have sometimes even the pylon on the high ground and the gateway then on the low ground there, and kind of take advantage of the fact that the pylon energy can spread off, you know, terrain onto other terrain. But it's always been a really good way to play. I think one thing with Protoss is you have to be very careful with this build that you never overextend, because the counterattack will kill the gateway and pylon and you'll lose.
Yeah. You definitely, you don't want to be throwing away a Zealot. If you throw away a Zealot, it needs to, like, maybe kill a Marine and damage another Marine to make it kind of even. Like, see, as soon as they start microing well, normally good Prosses will just kind of back up. Now, he's bringing a second, so what we might see here is him bring in both and try to do a flank, but the timing is very thin because there's going to be a Vulture on the way relatively quickly. So he does have to be careful. You end up losing a couple Zealots. Like, Mong does have counterattack potential at that point.
Yeah, so he's got the 2 Zealots out here. This does force a Vulture. There's not a position where you'd want to get an add-on over here. The position that Mong has with the depot and the barracks, like the Zealots can't attack. So they won't attack. He's just looking to see if anything's going to come down. But you need to back up to the point where the Dragoon can, which is inbound, by the way, can actually cover the Zealots, because otherwise the Vulture hits are going to be too strong. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, my God.
What? And they're both alive?
Yeah, that's so funny. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Is he going to get stuck? I can't believe that happened.
Yeah. Mong can't either. Like, it's so cathartic for me, because I sometimes do something like that and I lose my Vulture. I'm like, why am I so stupid? Why was that in the front? But then to see Mong make that mistake, it's like, damn, man, the Vulture's actually the important unit. You could lose 3 Marines there and you don't care. But you lose the Vulture, you're like, that's less mines, that's less micro. Counterattack potential is way lower now. Like, it's sad.
I feel like now you got to go for a Shuttle Reaver just to put the 2 Zealots in there and get value that way, man. That's crazy to me. I guess the reality is you're going from low ground, up to high ground. So there's a chance to miss in StarCraft 1. And so the Zealots could tank a little bit more damage that way. Yeah. But the fact that they ended up killing the Vulture and both getting out without losing anything is absurd.
And you got the 2 SCVs too, which isn't nothing. Not at this point in the game, especially with how late this command center is compared to the Nexus. That will make a difference. And now a shield battery going up. Range is on the way. He doesn't have range yet. I think he's moving these Dragoons forward, kind of anticipating this attack. Dude, Rain is playing so well right here.
Yeah, he's fighting extremely well. He's only losing shields on this. I don't think Terran should commit. Mong might go for it anyways.
Yeah, there's no way.
The problem is that... Yeah, I know. I mean, this is not going to work. I mean, especially when the battery's here. I don't know if Terran saw the battery or not.
I think he did now.
Now, he should know there's a mine out here.
Oh.
Nope, perfect play. Oh, my God, he's so good.
Oh, he's played it really, really cleanly thus far, but you can't actually count Mong out. Yeah, his command center's a little bit slower. Yeah, he lost 2 SCVs. The Marines don't really scale at all anyways, so losing those isn't a big deal. Like, Mong will get into a big macro game from here, most likely still. Like, definitely Rain's ahead. Definitely Rain has outplayed Mong thus far, but the game is in no way over.
So we've got Reaver Tech coming up here. And, man, I just feel like this is going to be such a tough game here for Mong. Everything he's tried has basically backfired. There hasn't been any one catastrophic moment. I mean, obviously losing the Vulture is painful, but that's not like, he lost a 3rd base or something. But it's one of these games that feels like nothing's really working out for him. Like he's losing by a couple of percentages in every fight.
Dude, that was...
gonna get this Dragoon.
I was actually going to say, like, why is he doing this? You never get the Dragoon. But the movement was so precise. He laid the first mine, then ran behind and laid the second mine. I don't know if he meant... I think he meant to do it where he glitched the Goon a little bit because the mine displaces the Vulture and that displaced the Goon slightly. That was really well done. But, like, what you see here with the speed, the Vulture speed, like, Mong kind of copies Flash early game. Like, this is what Flash early game kind of looks like. Like, a little bit of pressure and then just sniping the probe that's going to the 3rd base over and over. And like you were talking about at the beginning, it's so powerful. Like, he wanted to have the Nexus already started. So we don't know exactly what time he was going to start it, but it's probably delayed like 30 seconds like you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, this is... it's a little painful there. Yeah, I got to say, yeah, that was really good execution. You got to be careful when you seal up the bottom base here for Protoss. So basically this 3 o'clock spot here, because if they push it from below, it's hard to stop. But the shuttle's already inbound. I think this is going to force Terran to come back here. So, the shuttle Reaver with, I think, the 2 injured Zealots from earlier, them just being in here might be enough to keep that 3rd base safe because Terran has to play defensively.
Some good mines laid around the base. I really like that. I think that's such an important thing right now is making sure you have some random spider mines in your base just in case. Give yourself the opportunity to get lucky against the Reaver drop. Yeah. I don't think you'll get too much done with the Reaver. But, you got to fly it around and kind of show it and make sure they're making their turrets and everything.
I should know this. since I play Protoss, but I don't. What one siege tank shot on a Reaver, does that do any hull damage, or is that only shields?
Well, it matters on upgrades, right? Because shields are 80, I believe, right? And siege tanks do 70 at the beginning. So realistically, like I think it just basically erases the shields. I believe Reavers are 80 shields, or maybe they were 60 shields. It's one or the other.
I can't remember. Yeah, I mean, it's just wondering because like I was thinking, man, if you could just get one free shot, for every time you dropped a Reaver, that would always make it worth it versus a tank to fire at it. Maybe you do take a little bit of hull damage.
Yeah,
we can check if
I
we
feel
ever
like you
click on
do.
the Reaver again.
Yeah, I feel like you do, but I thought they had 80, which wouldn't make sense that they would. But anyways, it's, you know, people have become so good that, like, if that's Snow doesn't even take the shot. Like, he can pop it up in between the tank firing and hitting, which is just crazy, right? And a lot of people have been practicing that and getting better at it, but Snow is really... Well, I mean, there's a reason why he is the best PvT of all time.
Right. Well, he's been the one guy that's been able to exploit the Reaver almost to the point where it's like, you know, a League of Legends pro with a specific hero. Like, they can just do so many things with that one hero when they're in fights. Where he's doing things we didn't know were possible with the Reaver. Where I think Rain is more of a, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but just like, you know, it's a basic Reaver play, right? So he's going to have the 2 Reavers out here now. He's going to see what damage he can do.
Oops.
Oh!
A little bit of mistargeting there. It looks like his Reavers moved forward. Oh, sometimes from certain angles, Reavers are kind of stupid and won't shoot at full length, and they actually move forward. You got to be really careful about that. Those are the little ins and outs that make Snow so good at that Reaver control. But yeah, it looks like he's adding everything he needs. He doesn't see a third command center yet, so he actually adds more gates. Very, very smart. If your opponent is going to do a 2-base attack, you need to go 8 gates right now. Like, that is complete meta. But I think Mong is actually going to expand. Like, he's set up like he's going to expand, but this could turn into a push. He has 6 factories. But 6 factory third base is not super uncommon, right? Like, a lot of times you'll end up going for that, see that your opponent's kind of ready, and you just take a third base and scale up.
We've got, I think, 3 shuttles total here. And I believe it's just 1 robo. We have seen a trend in the last few years of people actually getting 2 robos, which makes for a very interesting way to approach the game. But this style, you know, there's options to where you can try to fly into the main and drop there. Usually that would have happened already. There is a 3rd Reaver that's in the mix here as well. So he might also go for a bust. I'm not totally sure. I don't see enough Zealots with speed here. Maybe he's going to try to drop on this. No. Okay, he is going to send the 3 shuttles around. So he's going to do something very different. He's going to come into the natural, unload here, and probably force these things to unsiege. And then from that point, he's going to send his Dragoons maybe up into the natural.
This is actually being dealt with really well from Mong. I feel like that's one of the situations where you might want to run all the way into the main base with the Reavers. Actually gets a chunk of SCVs there. And suddenly the supply differential is pretty heavily in Rain's favor. He's up like 50-something supply.
Kind of a weird fight. Zealot speed's still not done. I kind of thought that with all the siege tanks unsieged, I kind of got ahead of myself there. And said that he would just, you know, run in and take out the 3rd. He didn't do that part, but he's setting up for that now. Again, without Zealot speed, you know, and a lot of Zealots too, you can't really run in there and topple this position.
No.
And you got to be careful when you're Protoss and you're doing this, because sometimes you'll slam into the Terran a couple times and not really do that much damage, and Terran's just ahead.
Yeah. I actually think it's just, like, Rain right now should go double expansion. Okay, he makes 1. Like, the thing is, he opened up a big supply difference, so that kind of makes you want to attack a little bit, but I think he should actually set up 5 bases, because Mong has set up 3. So, like, the 5th base is kind of like, that's the point where you're really putting a lot of pressure on Terran economically. And he just spent a bunch of units flying in there and dealing damage to his economy. So it's, like, not necessarily the best moment once you trade a bunch of units for their economy to do a full attack. So, yeah, I would like to see just 1 more Nexus go down and then him think about running in as he maxes out.
Well, there has been this new style of kind of slow playing it. I mean, this is pretty about as macro kind of greedy as you can be here, as far as getting units. I shouldn't say like taking a ton of bases, but I think he's basically going to max out and just try to hit him.
Yeah,
If not, this is going to be an awkward game.
Well, the one thing is, I definitely think as you max out, you need to basically attack Terran. You're not going to scale up beyond that, right? You're going to need to start trading, especially when they're at lower supply. But the one thing I want to say is he needs to make a 5th Nexus before he does it. You need to have that going, because if you're on 4 Nexus, then you lose your army and you remake, and they're attacking you 3 base versus 4. It's a lot more even game, whereas if you just start that Nexus before you go, it makes a huge difference. And he has plenty of money to do it.
He's on siege. Okay. He's going to siege up, and he's going to hit with everything. He is flying in. I mean, how much damage can he do here? These Zealots are kind of getting stuck in the back.
Yeah, a little bit of an issue.
Hit, but there's so... Okay, he's going to run into these mines. That's going to be able to clear out some of these tanks in the back. He's backing up with the Dragoons. He's willing to sack a decent amount of these Zealots to hit and connect with some of these other units up here. He's going to pull a mine in. The problem is I still think Terran has a decent amount.
Yeah.
And what you were saying earlier, Tastosis, is true. Like, Mong, he's kept Rain on 4 bases. And really, 5 is the magic number.
Yeah.
He also, by the way, Rain had 4 Templars back there and no shuttle to take him with him. I don't know if he forgot Psystorm.
I'm not sure.
A lot of times... a lot of times what you want to do is you want to be able to blanket, the areas with storms, hit a bunch of tanks, a bunch of vultures, and kind of clear that out. Especially if you're going to go speed shuttle 1 robo play. You basically have to have Templars here. He's going to come in instead over here now and try to do a storm drop. Oh!
Pretty good dodging by Mong. Like, that could have been much worse. That could have been much worse, but he actually moved the SCVs around pretty quickly. Dude, I wish for Rain's sake he had set up that 5th base. And the thing is, Mong has been pretty active with a few vultures in the bottom, so that's what's kind of slowed him down, I think. But the game is a lot closer than I think it would have been if he had a 5th base kind of set up a little bit more quickly here. He did do a good job of reducing the siege tank count, though, which is, that's kind of like, that dictates so much for Terran, how many siege tanks you have at a given moment.
Well, kind of sloppy with the Templars here. He really has to keep these alive. With the 5th base coming up over here, and he's got a nice spread. Like, he'll be able to take a 6th base there as well. We should point out that Mong hasn't made any real headway here, right? Like, obviously, he hasn't been killed by Protoss, and, part of this game is Terran getting upgraded enough where eventually they can fight the tier 1 Protoss units head on. They can kind of melt them. Zealots and Dragoons become very weak. The play here from Rain is going to be to just use Psystorm. And this is usually what happens if you went for, a game where you had Speed Shuttle with Reaver. You didn't get a second Robo. You didn't elect to go into Arbiter or Carrier, which a lot of times are hard to tech into if you went for several shuttles with speed. So the idea is you just keep Templars and shuttles and Storm. And honestly, it's pretty good. I think some people might look at this and be perplexed. Like, why would you ever not have a Carriers or Arbiters at this phase of the game? But the Templars do pretty well.
Yeah.
As long as the Terran is bunched up and not spread out and turtled, you'd be surprised how much you can melt in Psystorm.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like, there's more gas. Oh, wow. This is a great catch to get all these probes going down. That is really painful for Rain. But, in this matchup, against Zerg, you need tons of gas. Against Terran, you don't actually need that much gas. Like, later in the game, you can get more and more and more High Templars because you're mostly mineral gated as Protoss in this matchup. So, yeah, right. The Storms just gain so much value over time. It doesn't matter that you lose some High Templars here and there. Like, early game, obviously, but later game, no.
Terran don't really have the ability to repair in an easy way. Nor are they usually, especially not in the middle of the map, are they able to do anything like that. So the Storms start to really accumulate damage. So a lot of times you'll Storm Terran and the Vultures move out of the way or the tank doesn't die. And it doesn't really feel like it's doing anything. But as long as you're getting off a lot of Storms, even if it's like a Storm on 1 tank or 2 Vultures, stuff like that, over time really starts to add up. And what Tastosis said was absolutely true, that what is this new display they have where we get to see one of Rain's Dragoons?
Yeah, the upgrades.
I guess that's to check the upgrades. I was like, why do we look at it 1 tank?
2-1 versus 1-1. I'm like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but what Artosis was saying earlier was totally true. Is like, if you're not going for Arbiters or Carriers, like, you got a lot of gas.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you just end up with a lot of Templars. So you also, when you play like this, you don't have one kind of key unit that you're worried about losing. It's not like you messed up the recall with the Arbiter, or 2 Carriers got shot down by Goliaths, and now your Carrier count is cut down so much you can't do anything. You just kind of have Templars in the mix. Vultures would try to snipe them, but by the way, you don't even have like a certain number of Templars to make this right or wrong.
Yeah. No, in the later the game goes, the more high Templars you'll see as well, where it's like, oh, you could trade a Templar for a tank. You're happy with that later on in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like the first like 4 to 8 Templars you get are much more valuable because it's like a limited resource and everything. But yeah, you're seeing more and more. Like, he has them on the side, he has them in this army. And he can just kind of keep making them. And any storms he gets off, it's like, yeah, a storm plus a couple goon hits. Yeah, okay, a tank is gone. Very worthwhile for that Templar.
And the storm is the strongest when Terran's unsieged. So this is kind of hard for Protoss to push through. But if the Terran unsieges and moves out, and that's really what happens when like 3-2, are the upgrades that Terran have, is that it's so scary for Protoss to fight because there's no way to like flank them or hit them. But with Storm, they're all grouped together. So you kind of treat them like Hydralisks. And then when they siege up, you just run back and make them unsiege and move out again. And if you look at how big and open the center of the map is, this is a great map to play like that.
Absolutely. Like, I like that he keeps breaking that same position. A lot of the maps in ASL this season have more buildable terrain than normal, which is kind of why we say, or why I say that I feel like it's a little bit more Terran favored this season. And you've seen he's been putting down some missile turrets and stuff. So just the fact that Rain is pushing that back and stopping him from having an entrenched foothold in the center is really, really strong. Also, one thing to note, you were talking about upgrades. The current, pretty nice storm drop there. The current metagame in Terran vs. Protoss, the strongest way most players are playing, generally has much later upgrades. As you can see, he's still on 1-1. I think he has 2-2 going right now. But it's like a very late set of upgrades. Like, everyone's kind of giving up on Science Facility early to get more tanks out. Like, that's just kind of like the way the game has gone. So his upgrades are a bit late this game, which is part of why they were shown on that new overlay, I think.
We were talking about damage accumulating on vultures and tanks, but it's even true with the SCVs, right? The SCVs that were killed in that storm drop, those were all damaged. And some of you might ask, well, why don't you repair? You can. There's a lot of damaged units when you're getting stormed, and you don't have a ton of SCVs. The SCVs also are going to get stormed. I mean, they can repair themselves. Maybe there's a world where in the future someone does have a medic that sits in the mineral patch here and heals stuff. I don't know if that even would ever be a thing. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah. I've tried it occasionally. It's like, it seems really good in theory, but it's really hard to pull off, and they'll just die to the first storm drop that comes as well.
Yeah, that's true. They can storm that as well, right? Now, he showed a fleet beacon. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Are we actually going to have carriers, or is he trying to prompt him into making Goliaths?
I think he's prepping for it because he has so many bases. But the thing is, a Terran on 4 bases, and especially if he gets 5, kind of has an endless army. Like, you are gonna outscale Protoss ground eventually here as you go up towards 3-3 and EMP and defense matrix and missile turret pushes and all this. So I think he's getting ready for that carrier switch, but not doing it yet.
Oh, great size storms here. Beautifully done. Oh my God, that's exactly what I was talking about. The shuttle Templar combination, basically unloading them in between tank shots, firing them out. And then once you've got your storms off and there's no more zealots, you just pick up and you back up. So I didn't see air weapons or air armor being upgraded. I guess, in this position, you're probably correct, Artosis. You can pretty much just sit back and tech into 3-3 carriers and not even make them for a while. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. He does have the
double cyber core.
I was going to say,
yeah. Well, he's broken the position so many times. If Mong had a foothold out here, like he had a minefield and a few missile turrets and everything, I don't think you could go carrier from there. But I feel like it's tight. Like, the transition is tight right now. Mong knows what's going on. He scanned the fleet beacon as like it was finishing. So he's going to be pushing aggressively, and what Rain has to do is buy time, and this is exactly how you do it. Notice how his army is moving across the bottom of the map. He's got to counterattack and, like, get Mong to stay back and clear things. Because if Mong just continues to macro up really strongly and pushes across, a lot of Rain's supply is going to be in carriers that aren't finished yet. Ooh, that's a big one.
Great storm there at the top. He's going to get all of those tanks with 2 storms now. And every tank that's killed, and I say this a lot, so I'm sorry to repeat myself, but it is true. Like, every tank that's killed in a TVP is a one step closer to the game ending with a Protoss victory. You just can't get that many tanks. They cost a ton of gas. They are the best unit in the matchup overall. They're what allow you to dominate the ground. And the fact that the tank count's been thinned out so much means the carriers, weirdly, are going to be very strong. Because Protoss already has a healthy ground army, right? And if you get carriers with a decent ground army, especially Dragoons and Templars, you're really going to be good at fighting this Protoss.
Yeah. Yeah, even just carriers alone can do quite a bit, but you have some Templars in there and you storm the Goliaths like they're Hydras, you know? And it adds up really quickly. Like, the Goliaths are not good at dodging anything. You know, they clump together really tightly as they need to against carriers, so things can get pretty bad. Now, Mong is pushing bottom right. I feel like Rain is very close to running away with this game because Mong needs this damage bottom right? He's no longer doing a full push, so Rain is going to come in here and try to knock this out. If he can save, like, he's not going to save this one, but if he saves the other 2 bases in bottom right, it seems almost impossible for Mong to be able to stop the carrier transition that's happening right now.
Yeah, he's going to come in here now. And look, Terran does kill that base off. That's probably the least consequential base on the map.
Yeah.
Protoss does need to expand into the bottom left. But I think the real story is going to be this carrier tech that's really picking up here. He's going to move that CC over there. But man, this is looking really bad for Mong. He's so low in supply. It's going to be so hard for him to ever get back up there.
Yeah.
I assume we're close to 6 carriers. If not, we're probably closer to 9. Okay, so there are the first 3. So the other 3 are going to pop out momentarily here. But he can send these around in kind of a counterattack, like a maneuver, and hit this base down here in the bottom left.
And look at this, the rest of Rain's army flowing down here as well. He knows that the Goliaths have to move down to that position, so, like, Mong also has to bring siege tanks down here. Like, he could counterattack here, or he could back up his carriers. There's a lot of ways Rain can play it from here. And it looks like he's just going to shove everything to the bottom left.
Yeah, this is tough. You can run right over to the high ground here and basically avoid these Goliaths. And now the ground army is going to come through there. GG, beautifully done.
Really well done. That was that was Rain showing just how good he is PvT. Because I think Mong played a good game. Like, he played strong. He had a lot of units. Rain harassed the edges. Excuse me. There was only like one moment in the mid game that I felt like Mong was pretty even with Rain, but Rain continued to expand, got some Psystorm drops off, and did fantastically. Really, really well played, but he's going to have to play Sharp next, and Sharp is a level up from Mong for sure.
Yeah, Sharp is, I think he should be the favorite for that. We will see. Mong versus Scan is going to be a great matchup as well here. I think that should be a pretty even fight. But Rain, one of the only Protosses in this season of the ASL, looking strong. 1 game away from advancing here into the next round. Guys, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Rain versus Sharp, we will see you soon.
1998년부터 시작된 브로더의 역사는 아직 끝나지 않았습니다. 새로운 역사의 시작 ASL 스타크래프트 리마스터 최초의 대회 여러분들이 원하는 꿈의 축제 뜨거운 박수 돌아가는
MC가 오늘가 시선 돌려놓고
뚫어요 역사적인 기록을
너의 어려움은 나한테 아무것도 아니다. 다음의 주인공이
어게인 2000 바닥부터 시작해서 7년 만에 헤란의 새로운 완판
최고의 선수.
뛰는 연속 우승 정우왕조의 트로피를 이어받는 새로운 우승자의 이름은 박상현.
이런 선수들이 이런 멋진 경기를 팬들 앞에서 여전히 보여주고 있다라는 것을
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. Another PBT for us. Fingers crossed. At least all the Protoss, all Protoss fingers crossed. I think Protoss have like 3 or 4 fingers, right? Weird Protoss hands with fingers crossed. Rain, one of the only Protosses in this season of ASL. But it's a very tough group, and this is a very tough opponent.
Yeah, and the map is kind of interesting to see. Rain has banned Attitude, and Sharp has banned Jane Doe. I'm not too surprised to see Jane Doe banned. That's a tricky map in some ways, even though I kind of like it TPP. Yeah. But that means we're going to play in Match Point. Now, Match Point, here's the thing about Match Point. Like, it's a 2-player map. There's a lot of, like, surface area. Everything's pretty flat. So, like, Protoss cheeses can be really good. But I do think if you can get into 4 bases as Terran, kind of evenish, it becomes really Terran favored at that point, I think.
Yeah, older map too. A lot of history. A lot of StarCraft history has gone down on this map. Let's get into it, guys. Sharp here in the bottom left and Rain here in the top right. How do you feel about playing on this map, by the way, Artosis? This is in the map pool.
Yeah.
What was with that probe? Did you see that probe? What was that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. It was some sort of crazy misclick. Maybe hotkeyed it wrong or something. Now, yeah, so what do I think about Match Point? So I think every time I play Match Point, I'm just hyper aware of Protoss cheese. Because I actually feel like late game, this is so Terran favored. I think that if Terran plays this map correctly, they can just shut out Protoss from a victory because there's not enough bases. Like, look, if Sharp's on the left here. If Sharp gets those 4 bases up in a line, how many bases can Protoss have? They can have a maximum of 6. I think you basically, if you go late game, you have to go carrier here. If you're even with, like, Terran is somewhere in the mid game, you're never going to bust them. You shouldn't be able to bust them if Terran plays this correctly. And, like, you know me, I don't call too many things Terran favored, but, like, yeah, if you get into that later portion of the game, I think it's really kind of ridiculous. So I like playing it. I like playing it. Like, if I block the cheeses, I feel like I'm in really good shape to end up taking it. Like, I just kind of hold that high ground lidge. I watch for everything. I make sure I have enough missile turrets. And it's just like, yeah, if you can only get 6 bases as Protoss, and I can push one of them consistently, then it's like 5 base versus 4 base. If you keep it on that, is that not Terran favored?
I think that's a good way to describe it. Certainly, there's a ton of cheese that you can do early on.
Mm-hmm.
And we're already seeing what appears to be Nexus first, but with a gas steal in front of it. I've actually found this a little tricky to pull off. I don't really mess with this that much myself.
It got popular on Eclipse for a while, if you remember. You remember when that was first really getting popular, and then it kind of died out, but it is coming back with the Match Point some. I've definitely been hitting this pretty significantly lately.
So one of the dangers here is your gateway or your forge or however you're going to play this is going to be later.
Mm-hmm.
And so, counterattacks are a little bit scarier. I don't know exactly, as an example, how to handle like a Marine Vulture SCV rush if this happens. Well, I guess you don't have the Vulture right because of the factory, but just a Marine SCV rush is what I meant. Sorry.
I think if you see them make a second barracks, you have to go cannon. Like, I think if it's 1 barracks, you can probably hold it with like Zealot. I've actually, back when this was getting popular in Eclipse, with 1 barracks SCV Marine, I actually saw a lot of Protosses start adding a second gateway if they thought that was coming, and just make more Zealots and able to hold it that way. But you could go cannon if you really needed to, because they're going to be sacrificing a lot to do that as well. But generally in this position, you should just expand as Terran, and that is what Sharp is doing. Because, like, yeah, you can try to cheese from here, but the thing is, Protoss dictated this position already, so they have counterplay in mind. So is what you're going to come up with on the fly going to beat their preparation in this regard? I don't feel like that's a play I want to make in ASL.
Seems like it's all about the Protoss scouting after the gas steal and just understanding what kind of game it is. You can't let surprises occur. And so, you know, Sharp, similar to the game versus Scan, just goes back and, you know, plays from behind. Says, okay, well, we'll just make a command center now. And, you know, basically trusting in his mid-game and late game and his ability to be mechanically superior and tactically stronger. And, you know, on a lot of these maps, guys, Protoss want to have games where there's just, if it's a 2-spawn map, a lot of bases. If it's a 4-player map, they can be agnostic about how many expansions are there. Although a lot of times if Terran has a hard time getting a 4th base, and especially a 5th base, it's going to be good for them to kind of macro up. But, you know, what Tastosis was saying before is very true, is that, like, you know, there's not a lot of locations on this map. If you drop any location, you're dead as Protoss. It's not like you can be giving up one position to expand into another, generally speaking.
Yeah, very true. You can't play any sort of like refugee Protoss where you're running around the map making nexuses and grinding Terran down. That just doesn't really exist. You know, in fact, I would say from Terran's point of view, you should probably never attack on this map unless, like, you see a carrier transition, right? Like, I feel like that's the only time, because other than that, it's like, yeah, just get your 4 bases up, deny 12 and 6 if you can, and what's left? Now, Rain is going to run 2 Zealots by. This is actually something that Sharp has been historically a little bit weak to. And
yeah,
look, like, even the add-on on this factory is a lot later because he put the pylon down, which got in the way, and then Sharp floated it over. So this is actually, it's going okay right now for Rain. Like, I think this is actually pretty good pressure from him. And look at that, he runs the Dragoon by as well. Jeez. I swear, like, I have seen Sharp lose way too many games that look exactly like this.
Yeah. You know, there's this weak spot here. We didn't really talk about it. There was a pylon that blocked the add-on for the factory, which of course means the add-on finishes later. It means the tank comes out later, and then the 2 Zealots and the Dragoon come in, and you kind of kill everything right before the factory units come out. And you might be saying, yeah, but I mean, how important are the Marines? Well, they're not that important, but they do help with pushes, especially in like early mid-game. And not having that there makes you a lot weaker. So that was a pretty big move there by Rain.
And the scout as well. He just saw the starport. So, like, he's going 3-gate observer. The starport isn't really going to do very much for Sharp, right? Like, what are the odds that he's going to... Like, we already have a wall here. Wow, very fast Stargate. I actually do wonder about this Stargate. Is he going to go 2-base carrier here? Because it is a map I think you need to go carriers on. And carriers are... considered a very strong counter. Oh, he's going Wraith. They're considered a strong counter to dropship openers because you skip scanner for a long time, so it's hard to see, but you normally make them after you stop the first dropship. Now, is he going to get like a Corsair and just go shut down the dropship or something like that? Is that too big brain? It's like...
that would be kind of crazy if he did. Okay, he canceled it.
Oh, that's
I don't know
interesting.
what was... I was really confused when I saw that start up.
Yeah.
There are some games where I've seen... he's definitely going to go for carrier. I have seen games where people would make, especially with the mass dropship play, 1 Stargate and make a couple Corsairs to tank turret shots so that the shuttles can get in there. This seems to have basically disappeared, but it was something that people were experimenting with. And maybe it'll make some kind of a resurgence. It seems like when the starport was spotted, he went defensively for a Wraith, which I think is not a terrible move. You know, you can hunt down observers. If there was a shuttle that came in here, you could kill that off as well.
Yeah.
And Rain's basically going for that, like, it's fast carrier, but not so fast that it's like the cheesiest thing ever. He basically went for observers first. I know we've seen some games like where Stork has gone for like carriers without even like a robo in the game, which is nuts. But this is still a very fast carrier build.
So
It's the safest, fastest carriers you can get in the game, basically.
It
And
is.
It's very good as Nexus first.
Exactly. Like, this is considered the strongest build that exists by Flash and by Artosis, where you go Nexus first into carriers very quickly. It's really hard to hit a timing attack against this because Protoss just kind of got away with the great economy early on. They're going to have more units than normal, and normally you want to just kind of, go into like a third base against that because there's not a lot of timing attacks that exist. But they're going carrier, which means you have to attack. So it's like, this is the hardest thing to play against. I think that Rain has done this really well. And Sharp is a bit unlucky. Like, he let those units by and they saw his starport, which opens the door so heavily because the starport is expensive. It's less factories, more slowly. Look, he just scanned and saw that it's carrier. I guarantee you Sharp's not happy right now. I guarantee you he's looking at this and he's like, you got, like, I have to push this. You can't if you let them get up to 6 carriers here, you're just going to lose the game. Like, you have to push before 6 carriers.
These carriers are different from the carriers we saw in the previous game because these are coming out and they're being upgraded immediately. And that's one of the big differences between early carrier game builds and then the games you see where they like macro up and do a bunch of stuff and there's all this other tech. Like, for instance, the last game, we saw Shuttle Reaver with the shuttle speed into Templars and then carriers. So these carriers are much stronger because you're getting the attack upgrade immediately. And then you're getting the +2 attack upgrade immediately and +3. And a lot of times the Terran can't quite keep up. And when you get +3, I mean, +2 is already crazy, but +3, and you have like 6 to 8 carriers, the Goliaths die so fast. They don't really get to fight in the same way that they would against +1 or +2. Like, it's kind of nuts. And of course, when you have that many, it's hard to ever target down one of the carriers. You can kind of cycle them away, making sure the weak ones are further back in the fleet. And what Terran needs to do generally right now is try to attack at this moment. And what Protoss wants to do to buy time against that is to get ready to counterattack the moment that attack comes out. So a lot of times you'll see the Protoss try to run around. Looks like it's possible Rain might try to take a fight, which is not, I think, generally what we see. Okay, he's just trying to figure out which one of the Dragoon groups can actually run by here.
Yeah, what he's doing is he's just slowing him down a little bit. He's just poking and prodding on the edges and just trying to buy time because you want to get those additional carriers. The thing is, 12 Goliaths hold off 4 carriers. That's like the key number to kind of know. And then as soon as the carriers start getting above that, you need a lot more Goliaths. And when you think about it, like 2 Goliaths are basically the cost of a siege tank and a vulture. So it's like, okay, the more Goliaths that you're having to spend, like, you're really cutting into your other units. And you're oftentimes stopped by gas in these games. But he does have his 3rd gas in the top left, which is really, really good for him. But look at this. Like, Rain is, again, he's just trying to slow him down. He's not going to take any real engages here. This is just poke, make him siege, fly away. He's got to get Zealot legs, and he's got to get more carriers before a real engage happens. And Sharp needs to utilize this moment. Oh, he didn't really send any SCVs up there.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. It's possible he's trying to hide that base, but I don't know, man. Okay, the Observer's going to go check. I was wondering if maybe he didn't want to show SCVs being transferred so Protoss would think this is a different game. Because, when you see a 3rd base, it's very different than if Terran's on 2 bases. When you
might be right.
Bases, you go,
yeah,
you go, I'm not going to expand. I'm not making probes. I'm not doing anything. He's got 4 carriers, which is a much higher number than the 2. It can be much more impactful. But, this map, it's a little tricky. He can do a counterattack. So this number of units is going to be able to come up here and hit this. But interestingly, Sharp is actually keeping some Vultures and Goliaths back here.
Well, he's got to make sure he doesn't lose this base. I like this combo because what you can do is you can just scan the Observer and kill it with the Goliaths. Like, this is kind of the poor man's defense. See, well, it runs into a turret anyways, but he did scan looking for it. That's like what this combination of units generally does. So he forces this back for now, and he's going to try to catch some of these units as they come out. If he can kill that group of army, bring everything back to center, reinforce, and then do a push, there's real potential for a win here. But look at Rain. Rain is so smart when you watch him play. Like, he recognizes what's happening here. Oh, he actually... that was good by Sharp to aggro those, because he's trying to just like keep them far enough back so it takes time. All he needs to do is buy time, because his army outscales what Sharp is doing.
Yeah, the counterattack is insane. And here's the thing. I mean, you can run in here with all of these carriers. You could snipe the tanks. And you can... Now Terran basically has to push himself. He has to send all of his tanks back over here in a really uncomfortable spot. Some of those tanks are going to come up here and hit. Now, I'm curious if Rain runs out or if he just tries to push further into the main here. It looks like he's going to go ahead and take this command center out and then push further back. And Rain is basically playing one of the best positional games we've seen in ASL in all of the seasons. He really just like understood exactly when to engage and when to run away and how much to counterattack with and when to full-on counterattack with everything. I mean, this is a pretty beautiful game. He's going to go for the armory. That's going to deny the upgrades. Looks like these zealots will barely be able to start to damage the third base. And here's the thing. The Dragoons can't leave, but the carriers will.
Yeah.
So the carriers will aid the Dragoons as long as they can until it doesn't make sense, and then the carriers leave, and that's that. GG.
You saw that look on Rain's face. Well, Sharp knew. He was looking at it. He's like, there is not any universe in which I win this game.
Right.
Again, beautiful positional play from Rain. I guarantee you now that's what I'm going to be hitting on the ladder all night. That type of build. And very, like, he just perfect understanding what he needs to do. And I hope that Rain has put some of the Protoss vs. Terran skilled naysayers to sleep here tonight, because he just played two very different, very strong games against two of the strongest Terran vs. Protoss players we have in ASL.
And honestly, not too crazy fancy, like we said before. Very straightforward games, kind of taking the unit combination the way that it is strong and exploiting the weakness that Terrans have fundamentally. Oh, we're going to go to interview.
ASL Season 21 24강 A조
You're watching Group A of the round of 24 here at ASL Season 21 as we have our first player through to the round of 16 today. Let's bring Rain out here to the front of the stage. A round of applause, guys, please.
정인정 선수 신인 같은
Rain.
느낌이 든다라고 경기 전 인터뷰를 통해
In the pre-game interview, you said this feels like you're a rookie. But with how steadfast your fundamentals were today, nobody could ever call you a rookie as you move on to the round of 16 as our first player through today. How are you feeling? For starters, I did not think I would advance in first place. It's a little surprising, and yeah, it is surprising. In the pre-game interview, you said you could not lose to the likes of Mong, as he said the same about you. It was truly an impressive match that unfolded. You saved your goons, you went into zealots, you kept harassing your opponent's expansions with drop play. You played a very safe style in that game. What's your personal take on that match? I was off to a really good start in the beginning, but the match did not progress as favorably as it should have, so it's a little upsetting. But in the end, my experience came through, and I was able to win thanks to my movements and how I was taking fights. So I'm satisfied. Still, did you feel that it was difficult to fight Mong head-on whenever he hit his 2-1 upgrades? All in all, this is a tournament. Mong normally plays quite aggressively, but today he played defense, which made me feel comfortable. In the winners match, you faced off against Sharp. Do you have a reason for going for quick carriers on match point? In all honesty, two-player maps are known to favor Protoss, but save for the early game, once you go into mid to late, this is not a good Protoss map. I thought I would have to try something like carriers to win. I wanted to go for carriers, and once again, I found an advantage right off the bat, and I was able to win with ease. I was constantly looking towards the crowd to see their reaction as I watched the match, and there was one guy said the following: you know, Rain, in a tournament, he can make you go nuts. There really seems to be something in it whenever you play offline. Are you ready to drive the fans crazy all throughout the tournament? I think it's the fact that I've not been streaming that makes them go crazy.
솔직히 올라갈 줄 몰랐는데
But today,
쉽게 올라가게 돼가지고
you know, I didn't think I would
앞으로도 준비
advance
기간이
in
많기
first,
때문에
and
더 열심히
doing it
해서
with such ease
욕심을
is
좀 내도
it's all
될것
thanks to
같아요,
the fact that I prepared well.
좀 대회하면서 그래도
I think if I keep
내가 좀
working
살아있구나
hard,
생각을 했어가지고
it's fair for me to get a little greedy. At the end of the day, I'm still standing today, so I think I can get some good results if I practice a bit more. And a lot of your colleagues showed up today to lend their support, as did your fans. Please address them as we close things out.
이렇게 응원 와주신
I've not been streaming lately, so thanks to all the fans who cheered for me still,
스트리머들이 또
and
와줘가지고
my colleagues and streamers
토마토 점리 오연아가
showed up
와줘서
today.
더 힘이 났던 것 같아요.
These three being here gave me
네,
strength.
정윤주 선수 다시
Thank
한번
you.
16강 진출 축하드리고요. 이번 시즌 멋진 모습 기대하겠습니다.
Once more, congratulations on
인터뷰
making the round of
감사합니다.
16. Can't wait to see you perform this season. Thanks for the interview.
첫 번째 16강 진출자 정윤정 선수와
We've
함께
just heard
이야기
from
나눠봤습니다.
Rain, our
저는
first player through to
잠시
the
후에
round
오늘
of
두 번째
16.
진출자와 함께
We'll be back in
돌아오겠습니다.
just a bit with our second player moving on.
Welcome back, everybody. Only Terrans remain. Scan, Mong, and Sharp are all battling it out to see who is going to actually get that second spot in the round of 16. Right now, Scan and Mong fighting for the right to even be in Group A.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for either of these guys to advance with the final boss of TVT, Sharp, awaiting them. Interesting. Well, I guess not that interesting. They both veto Jane Doe. Let me tell you, if there's a map you don't want to play a Terran vs. Terran on, it's Jane Doe. It is It is incredibly painful. But this matchup I think is pretty tight, pretty close between the two. I put them at a pretty similar level in Terran vs. Terran, honestly. I feel like this could go either way on match point.
Should be a good match. But yeah, I mean, both these guys have a tough road ahead, man. Giant bottle of Bakari sweat there for Mong.
Mong doesn't do
Staying
anything
hydrated.
small, tasteless.
Yeah, that's right. He goes big every time. Okay, so we're going to go to match point again here. TVT, Scan versus Mong. Yeah, let's get into it. Okay, Scan here in the top right and Mong here in the bottom left. You know, this map, first of all, there's not a lot of bases on it. How exactly does this impact TVT? Because it does feel like there's no obvious spot that one player can carve out from the other.
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
I feel like most of the match point games are like won very quickly because first off, your natural is siegeable from outside.
Oh,
and
true. Yeah.
the contains that you can set up on this map are absolutely brutal. Like, if you lose map control at the beginning, you could contain like outside of their natural and the high ground both very easily because, well, it's a high ground. How do you ever break that? So we should see like a lot of battling to see who gets ahead at the beginning. I don't think you'll see any sort of quick third or something. I think going 5 factories or 4 factories here, like a 4 factory defense or a 5 factory offense on 2 bases, both makes a lot of sense. Because if you get a slight positional advantage, the map is just so small. You just choke your opponent out really, really quickly then.
Yeah, I mean, TVT historically has been one of the longest matchups along with TVP, but you know, it just seems like on this map, it's hard to make it last forever. And you also just, like we said, you don't have a ton of bases. You're going to run out of money quickly here.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Mong looping around here and making a barracks up in the top center of the map, presumably to make 1 or 2 Marines and then to float this inside the main where you're going to get access and information there very quickly.
Yeah, the metagame on this map, Terran vs. Terran, involves a lot of forward barracks, like 11 supply barracks, not 8 barracks. So like regular economy forward barracks into potential bunker. If you can make a bunker like really quickly at your opponent's natural and it actually gets up with Marines in it, it puts you really, really far ahead because you have to go tank to break out. And the thing is they can repair like you would, you know, you can just kind of sit behind the bunker and repair it a little bit, and then the tank has to dive on that, and there's a bunch of micro going on, and just you get way ahead if you can do something like that. I don't think that anyone will let that happen. That I feel like that got resolved in the first week that Matchpoint came back, that everyone knows that that's going to happen, so you're looking for it. But just to mention, we could see Mong attempt that.
You have the SCV just harassing the SCV making the factory right now, and he's going to send the first scouting SCV to come in here, but the barracks is inevitably going to be lifted off here and floated into the main. And you know, You were saying it's a lot of two basing, right, Artosis? You
Yeah.
got to be careful because the natural can be pushed. Oh my God, he got an SCV. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, this is part of the thing. If you go for that forward barracks play, you don't have anything at home. Like, he's sending a Marine, but look how annoying this is. Like, Scan is gaining an advantage off of literally one SCV.
Yeah.
It's like a probe right now.
Yeah, and obviously he knows that the barracks is in the middle of the map, or there would be Marines here defending. So it's not like the barracks that floats in there is going to be a surprise or anything like that.
Yeah. And he gets his command center started way ahead of Mong and kills the SCV that came in. And now his Marines can go ahead and attack the barracks. Scan has definitely got a way better opener here than Mong does. Like, what Mong did here, like I mentioned, the first week that Match Point was back out, everyone was putting their barracks right around where Mong was and trying to put pressure on like that. And you can see that Scan had some nice counterplay to that here.
But we did see Scan get ahead in build orders here earlier in the group and kind of not succeed with that. So the question is going to be not just, is his build putting him ahead, but where does he take the game from here? And how is he going to try to take this small advantage that he's got? We've got Mong throwing down his own starport. So both sides are going for that starport tech post-expansion.
Yeah, and that actually could play into Scan's favor a little bit just because his starport is a little bit later. If Mong's Wraith goes across the map, if you get the first volley, like, Wraiths do moving shot pretty easily. So, he might be able to get a slight advantage there. I'm not too surprised to see both sides going for this because the Vultures, like, you have that little ramp. So your Vultures sit on top of the ramp, and then it takes extra long for the other Vultures to go around the other way. Like, 2 Vultures on that ramp basically beat 3 Vultures coming up if you micro correctly. So it's really hard to do anything with Vultures early, which allows you to get your tank out, which makes it hard to do anything with Vultures in the mid game. And then you have the Wraith, which is like, okay, it chases away the barracks. And Wraith goes into 5 factory really cleanly. Like, you go Wraith and you, like, fly around with it and you're annoying. And then, like, you just add a bunch of factories all at once and battle for that map control. So I think that well thought out continuation on both sides here.
Yeah. And, Wraith, when you're both making it, you got to be really careful to not drop a Wraith on your end.
Yeah.
Wraiths deal, they're very glass cannony. They deal a ton of damage air to air. They almost deal no damage air to ground. It's kind of funny. Just watching, like, 3 Marines fight a Wraith, you're like, oh.
Yeah, they lose.
That's not supposed to be how it's going to go down.
The Wraiths lose, yeah.
Yeah. So, but in Wraith to Wraith, if you get the first couple of shots, Wraiths kill Wraiths so fast that you end up in a position where, you can completely lose control of the air and the sky.
And you gotta really watch out. Like, if you're going Wraith and your opponent's going Wraith and one of you gets more Wraiths, it's something that, it's as old as time. Any StarCraft game when you see the mirror matchup flying units being made, it's like, okay, so if you have mutas versus mutas and someone gets one more muta, they're way ahead. So you got to decide then, is like, am I staying on Wraith? Am I going Cloak? Am I adding a second port? Am I switching into an Armory? Mong here is going Armory quickly. Scan is getting his add-on for Cloak. And yeah, so Mong basically chose to not play the Wraith game, which it's not his strong suit. It is absolutely, he's not a Wraith guy. Like, he can open a Wraith.
Some people are.
Yeah, some people are, like, meant to go Wraiths.
Well, Wraiths, it's funny. They can be controlled like they're Mutalisk. Like, you can actually do crazy maneuvers with Wraiths and really damage stuff. And some Terrans have really invested in the time. I mean, it's kind of what Late is famous for, right? But they're so good at moving Wraiths around. The difference between Wraiths and Mutas ultimately are just that Wraiths are not as well-rounded and as strong as Mutalisks are, so they can't be used all the time in so many different ways, right? Like, you have to go for Wraiths in ZVZ. Sorry, you have to go for Mutas in ZVZ. And obviously in ZVT and ZVP, they're incredibly strong, but Wraiths don't have the same kind of power and strength in the other matchups.
Well, this is going to be a little bit annoying. He did do Mong did do a scan onto Scan and saw a Wraith being rallied from his starport, so he knows that that's still on the way. We'll see if he wants to go missile turrets or not, or he's just going to try to utilize, his scans as the defense. And a 5th factory going up for Mong. Again, no surprise there whatsoever. Like, this is exactly the type of map where you probably do want to go 5 factory quickly.
So both sides are going to continue to power up. We're seeing Scan dart out on the map with a lot of vultures. He's even setting a couple more out here. He's going to encounter the Goliaths and the tanks. There's no easy target to hit there. Keep in mind, these vultures, they don't have mines of their own yet. So you can't quite surround anything and then try to plug the ground up with spider mines and maybe set something off that way. But the push is going to come inbound regardless. There are 2 mines here. He's got to be careful. Oh, okay. He's got just enough tanks to kill off the mines.
Yeah, and looking pretty good for Scan here. Like, he's getting into a nice position to start, but with the 5 factories, Mong should be able to overpower it. But look at how annoying these wraiths are going to be now. This is like, if you're good at utilizing the wraiths, like, these wraiths just won't die for a really long time. And he can use them to do things like spot up and maybe siege the natural, that type of thing. Very annoying to deal with.
He's even forcing scans out here. The wraiths can run away immediately. And now the vultures and tanks are just overwhelming the entrance here. Now there's more tanks here for Mong. I think it's 3 versus 4. He's planting a couple mines. They're being shot down pretty quick. Can this be flooded?
Well, Scan doesn't seem to mind. He just brings the wraiths back to fight once again and harass the SCVs a little bit more. Ooh, one of the mines actually goes in, and I don't know if that actually connected or not, but he does pick off some additional units. Very tactical game here from Scan overall. In fact, those wraiths could come up and target down this Goliath and really wreak havoc on those siege tanks.
That's what I was thinking. I was watching that thinking, oh, that's a really juicy shot to
Yeah.
just take out that Goliath right there. He's got a contain on him. Remember that Scan is taking a 3rd base. So as important as it is that Mong is contained, it's also the reality that Scan has access to the rest of the map here. So he's growing. He's looking really good. There are a couple of vultures out on the map, but I don't think there's enough that it can really make a big difference here. And remember, there's nowhere else to expand here for Mong. I mean, the only feasible place you could try to take would be 6 o'clock, and that's pretty far away. And even if he were to take that, he'd have to eventually deal with his contain anyways. Now, sometimes when you contain too early and you don't really have it balanced out, they can just come out here and break this down and get their own contain set up on your side of the map. But right now, Scan looks really solid with how he's got this set up.
He actually misrallied one of his tanks. So one of the tanks got clicked. You can see the edge of it there. It's actually just barely in the wrong spot. But yeah, he doesn't have anything behind this containment, really. If Mong breaks that containment cleanly, rather, he's going to have a really overwhelming army, and Scan might have a hard time holding on to anything from that point. But you can see Scan is adding a bunch of factories here. There is a dropship out on the map. Scan trying to help pick off a few more tanks here. He's got to be careful, though. If he overextends over here, I almost feel like he should maybe pull back just slightly. But he's trying to make tough trades here for Mong.
Okay, he's going to try to come up here again. There is a vulture drop coming out on the map. This could be bustable. I mean, it's a lot of tanks here from Mong. Mong's being very patient. Very annoying to try to push over this area, especially with the high ground here to the right. You can't quite see over that, which means the other tanks get their shot off first because the wraiths are spotting for them. The vultures are going to come in here and hit these SCVs, and there's nothing to defend this. I mean, it's very possible Scan loses every SCV here.
Yeah, that's doing some great damage. Now Mong is trying to break out while Scan is trying to deal with those SCVs, so very good move from him. Scans kills one of the wraiths. There's only a single wraith left now, so he's mostly dealt with that. But Scan has made a sick arc. Like, this is a real pain to break through still. And he gets away with a couple of his tanks. But Mong has a pretty dominating ground army right now. So even though Scan got that base up pretty quickly, even though he was pretty efficient and did some good harassment, Mong has a lot of fight left in him here. And that is a scary army. That's not an army I would want to have to try to stop his Scan right now.
Yeah, this is getting cleaned up pretty quickly here. Did Scan overextend? The issue is, sometimes with really good Terrans, you see them pull out right away when they're not comfortable, and sometimes those are the best players. Like Flash is excellent at that. He'll look at a position, he'll be in pretty deep, and he goes, "No, that's it. Yeah, I've done as much as I can. I've looked at this and I've calculated I gotta abandon this position." And Mong is going to come right through here. And, dude, this is so many tanks.
Yeah.
I don't know if these 4 tanks can hold this at all. In fact, I think this is just going to get busted down. Scan's probably going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. When you commit that heavily to a containment and you're expanding, it's like, okay, you might just win the game off this. But also, if they break you, you have nothing left behind. All your units are up at the front, and you're being greedy, which is fine. That's like a great way to play, and you'll win a lot of games like that. But in this particular one, like, Mong timed this really well. He did a little vulture drop, brought Scan's attention away, broke out, and now he's just making a beeline across the map and trying to break Scan. And even if he doesn't break Scan here, he's got a good position, right? Like, even if Scan ends up holding this and kind of pushes Mong back a little bit, Mong has map control now. So the game has really shifted onto its head.
Yeah, this is looking pretty scary. Now, the push on the low ground, you know, he's going to have to be scanning up there. He is bringing the barracks. We can see on the mini-map. Yeah, there it is. He's going to bring the barracks and float it over here to try to hit what's up here. But it's his third base that I'm more worried about. Because this base, you can push from the high ground, which is huge, right? I mean, remember the chance to miss shots here. The vultures are going to just fill this area up with mines, but not enough to take the tanks out. And Mong is taking a fourth base behind all this.
Yeah.
So he's continuing to grow.
Yeah, he's already got his production up. He's got enough factories. He's got a good position. Like, he's actually stopping some mining here. I think eventually he should pull back from there because Scan is going to suddenly move tanks up and bust everything. So, yeah, I think he should be a little bit careful about that. Yeah, that's a lot of rates for Scan, by the way. He might actually be able to do, like, a counterplay against Mong, like what Mong just did against him. Look how low these Goliaths are.
Back the other way.
He should just fly in and kill those. It looks like, ooh, a big attack here from Mong. But again, there's not many Goliaths, and Scan has a lot of wraiths. Like, his wraiths can come up here and kill every one of these tanks. Every one of them.
No anti-air. I mean, none of these tanks are going to get through.
Yeah, he's going to kill all of them. Huge value here for Scan.
Maybe Scan does swing this game. We even see more tanks from Mong coming out here. And even the 3 Goliaths, maybe up to 5 now. I don't know that they're going to get here in time. I mean, this is so many killed tanks. Not a trade, just a loss.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you know, each Wraith represents like a siege tank that you could have had because of their cost.
Sure. Well said.
Yeah, but like still, they've done so well. They're forcing him to make Goliaths as well. He's gaining some good value, but he does maintain like kind of a smaller, weaker ground army overall. It's important that he gets kills like that. The game still looks pretty close overall. They have similar supplies. Scan has a little bit more flexibility, but Mong has a little bit more power.
Now, Scan fighting back onto the high ground. Mong retreats. Mong did lose a lot of tanks in that process, a lot more than Scan. Scan traded some out, but he kept a decent amount alive here. It's going to be Scan's turn to actually try to fight across the map here. Does feel like he's pushing out right now with like too little.
Yes. Yes,
you know,
one
guy's going for wraiths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one guy's going for wraiths. The other's not. The other guy's going for just ground and pound, right? So when you have a guy who's going for wraiths, you have to play a much more positional, tactical game where you're ready to retreat and escape and get into positions that are kind of hard to fight.
Yeah.
You can't just aim move across the map like that because you're going to end up fighting more units always. You
For
don't even
sure.
have any Goliaths.
Yeah, you have to kind of take like really strong and smart siege positions. The thing is, he is trying to get as much value out of his wraiths as he can right now. Mong will probably go for some Valkyries at this point. Like pro gamer Terrans can't help themselves. They see more than 3 wraiths and they're like, all right, it's Valkyrie time. So we might see him switch into that, which will really shut down the wraiths at that point if he gets there. But yeah, Scan is just pushing a little bit too far. I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to cut off the bottom part a little bit so he can actually get his bottom right base. But he keeps losing these additional tanks, and he can't do that. He's so gas-starved right now. Going Wraith and tank at the same time, like, you can barely afford either one of them. And Mong is sitting here on 3 gases, focusing on siege tanks. So Scan really should have been keeping, like, a more defensive stance, I think, so far with his tanks.
Yeah, he is already so far out and dropping tanks again. This has been kind of a slugfest, man.
It really has.
A lot of back and forth fights. Yeah, it's been pretty crazy.
And look at how much value he is getting with these wraiths. Like, he did kill off a couple of very injured Goliaths there, so he's getting these extra kills as well. Of course, once the Goliaths come down, these wraiths won't be able to do very much. And now Scan getting towards center. This is a much better amount of tanks, but he should be very careful at this. Mong does actually have enough to break this. Ooh, gets a free kill there. Very nice. Good positional siege there by Scan. He's blocking the ramp that goes to his natural, and he's blocking the ramp that goes to his 3rd and 4th. But there's more paths than that. The thing is, if they keep making tanks and keep sieging up, this map will be cut in half relatively soon. It is a small map. And once you have it fully cut in half, man, it's like, okay, are we going to try to shove through areas? Are we going to try to go mass dropship? Or are we switching to battle cruisers?
And, you know, there's not a lot of map left here.
No.
We see 6 o'clock is about, the command center for Scan is about to be finished there. 12 o'clock, you would think goes to Mong. If Scan were to somehow be able to take both of these, the game would go to him. But otherwise, it's going to be one of these games where, very realistically, we could have the map mined out.
Oh, definitely could be. Like, if we get a strong siege line everywhere, man, it's tough, too, because it's like you want to play tempo. You want to keep on going and attacking. Maybe that involves dropships at that point. But if the map actually gets cut up, BCs become the strongest thing. That's the nature of Terran vs. Terran. We don't see it as much in pro play, but it definitely exists.
Yeah, and, you know, maps ever running out of money, it's pretty rare in StarCraft 1 nowadays. We've had it was more common in the past. It is still somewhat, I wouldn't say common, but it definitely happens in StarCraft 2 because of the way split map games go, especially in non-mirror matchups. But TVT on this map, this could be one of them.
Well, right now, yeah, he's going for
unload.
Sorry.
Yeah,
he's going for like such a big drop here. This is such a strong mid-game move. Scan has a bunch of wraiths, so like he could have, if he was in a better position, maybe have punished this a bit better. He comes in, he's going to try to target down the Goliath. If he kills the Goliath, everything gets cleaned, and he does. Look at that. Very well done from Scan. So he is going to be able to clean this up. And by the way, Tastosis, Mong doesn't have +2 attack on his siege tanks. We're 20 minutes in. That's absurdly late to not have +2.
It's basically the best upgrade in the matchup.
Yeah.
You know, +2 is massive. So I don't even know why that's the case here. It means you're going to be much more likely to lose your tanks to pushes. But Mong, maybe, would he elect to get that later? Maybe to just like have another factory, another base?
Yeah, I think that's...
seem like that makes a whole lot of sense.
I think that is how it went down, though, right? Like he was contained for a while, and it was like a crazy, brutal back and forth game, and he was just trying to mass up as many units as possible. So I kind of get it, but like that's late. As Scan recognizes that it's +2 against +1, like you can just make lines of siege tanks, and it's so hard to actually clear them out. You know, like for anyone who doesn't know, +2 on siege tank, when it's sieged, it 2-shots other siege tanks. Doesn't matter your armor upgrades. As soon as you have +2, tanks die in 2 shots, and instead of 3. So it makes a gigantic difference when you're sieged.
Yeah, no, it's insane. And now we've got Mong pushing down here through 6 o'clock. This is a lot from Mong. I'm seeing 3 tanks down here, a couple more onto the high ground, although they may be coming in here late. And, you know, if Scan can hold this, it's going to be good for him, but, you know, is he going to actually get that far yet? We also don't have Mong taking 12 o'clock just yet, which is a little bit concerning. Like, these bases are going to run out. He is going to siege up over here. You know, even just getting 1 drop ship to put tanks into this area would be huge, but that's going to work as well. Sending the 2 vultures in is all you need. You can stay at a distance and kill off the SCVs, and it's really hard to deal with.
Well, he should bring any remaining wraiths he has down here. I think he can kind of clean this up.
Yeah.
Like, you need something to give you vision in there. That's what the 2 vultures are doing, and why they laid all those mines is so that he can just have vision for his tanks. Ooh, Scan has to be careful not to lose the command center. That would be bad. You do not want to randomly lose the command center when you're in a game like this. But you can see that...
I think you can't...
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you can't build up at 12 o'clock. I think the mine actually blocks that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Here comes Scan's wraiths. There's only a couple Goliaths in there. It's kind of funny to watch Mong just like keep on having only a few Goliaths with his army. I think this is part of the reason why you see a lot of top pros go for Valkyries to just really shut down Wraith, and that hasn't happened yet. And he continues to... Look at what he's doing with the Wraiths. Like, all these positions that would be so messy to clear out in other ways, he's just picking apart all sorts of areas here. The Wraiths have done so much for Scan in this game.
Yeah, I think you make a good point with the Valkyries. Like, you know, a couple Valkyries with a few sprays in there, and the Wraiths just melt. But the fact that he's basically tried to just have enough Goliaths that you can never fight the Goliaths when the tanks are with them. The problem is that the Wraiths can always just do avoidant play. They can always, you know, just back out of fights that are not going to be good for them. By the way, 2-2 is done on both sides here, so we don't have that upgrade disparity. But yeah, I mean, the Wraiths, they can basically create these guerrilla tactics and hit these different points on the map. And dude, Scan's counterattack with the Vultures, this game's getting crazy. He's hitting both the top base and the top left, and the third base here for Mong.
Mong's supply is falling apart. He's like not mining any GGs. Wow, look at that. He was
suddenly split into several broken pieces on the map. He was not able to get back out there and protect anything. Mong seemed to be pushing, but sometimes almost mindlessly, hemorrhaging a lot of units, and basically giving up on good positions. And Scan fought back really well after a very destabilized mid game too.
I tell you, it was a well-played game on both sides. It was definitely hectic and back and forth and crazy, and they used such different strategies. But I think at the end of the day, Scan just did enough with his Wraiths. You know, if Mong had been able to defend his siege tanks a little bit better, I do think he would have won that game. He definitely had a big advantage in the middle game. When he broke the push and double expanded, it looked really good for him. But Scan stayed calm, played a strong game, and now goes to the final match against Sharp, which I think, again, it's going to be tough. You saw how Sharp just dismantled him in their first game of the night. But, you know, maybe Scan can do a bit better here and make the upset and make his second round of 16 in a row.
Too bad to see Mong going so early here. But I guess that's what happens when you're in Group A and you die out. Guys, the rematch of the start of Group A is coming up next. Sharp versus Scan. We'll be right back.
make it pop. Spicy, hot sauce, fireworks, bang, blast off. Everybody look at me, hats off. Cause I really did my thing, no mascot. No Sasquatch, but I do it big. Some people don't believe, but some people never live. I've been a big fish, so I learned how to swim. Now I'm going upstream in the front for the win. Champagne pop so fly. New breed, one of a kind. Headline news, that's right. Come on now, it's a celebration tonight. Watch me, I'm ready. Throw the confetti. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Watch me, I'm ready. Throw the confetti. Right here, it's a celebration. Right here, it's a celebration. Please no speaking. The peanut gallery go sleepy. If you got a salary, let's kiki. In the winner's circle, it's me, 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 me. Look at you, nervous. The achievements I have, I deserve it. No flexing, no magic, no curtain. I put the purr in perfect. Champagne pop so fly. New breed, one of a kind. Headline news, that's right. Come on now, it's a celebration tonight. Watch me, I'm ready. Throw the confetti. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Watch me, I'm ready. Throw the confetti. Right here, it's a celebration. Right here, it's a celebration. CELEBRATE. Let's celebrate me. CHAMPAGNE. Champagne on me. CELEBRATE. Let's celebrate me. CHAMPAGNE. Champagne on me. Watch me, I'm ready. Throw the confetti. Right here, right now. Right here, it's a celebration. Watch me, I'm ready. Throw the confetti. Right here, right now. Right here, it's a celebration. It's a celebration.
(1998년부터) 시작된 브로더의 역사는 아직 끝나지 않았습니다. 새로운 역사의 시작 ASL 스타크래프트 리마스터 최초의 대회, 여러분들이 원하는 꿈의 축제 뜨거운 박수 걸어가는 MC로 뚫어요 역사적인 기록을
어려움은 나한테 아무것도 아니다. 가을의 주인공이
엔딩 전체 이게 바닥부터 시작해서 7년 만에 헤란의 새로운 왕관 최고의 선수 뛰는 연속우승 자부왕조의 트로피를 이어받는 새로운 우승자의 이름은 박상현.
이런 선수들이 이런 멋진 경기를 팬들 앞에서 여전히 보여주고 있다라는 것을
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. Up next, a rematch of the start of the day here. Sharp versus Scan. It was one where Scan opened up with Command Center first, got that lead, but Sharp was just too tactically good, too comfortable in the mid-game, too able to control the third base of Scan, and basically too good at kind of zigging every time that Scan zagged. I mean, he was really on top of the movement and basically completely surrounding and crushing Scan in the end. So we're going to need to see something a little bit different from Scan here as the game develops if he's going to win.
Yeah, we're going to be going into Polestar, which is pretty much our most vanilla four-player map right now. Definitely some positional advantages can occur in Terran versus Terran, but I'm more interested in the opening build orders from these guys and just seeing like, okay, who's going to have that advantage, or is there going to be an advantage in that early game? And can Scan play a little bit better? Because I think there were opportunities for him to get really far ahead of Sharp, and Sharp just really outmuscled him, outplayed him. So I hope that Scan has kind of calmed down at this point. He looked pretty good against Mong overall, but I do think Sharp is pretty well favored.
Rain getting out of this group immediately, leaving only one of our 3 Terrans here to try to get into that spot here, the round of 16. Mong already gone. It's going to come down to Scan and Sharp here in our final map. Okay, Sharp here in the bottom left and Scan in the top left. This map's a great map, by the way. I'm glad this is an addition in the map pool. I really welcome maps like this that, you know, have some comfortable ideas, some common ideas, but then, you know, bring some new flavor to it as well here in a way that's not absurd and not too crazy.
Yes, definitely. It's really interesting with the different expansion locations, the terrain switches, the number of paths around the map. It feels open, but also compact enough that it's okay and everything is playable. Like, I really like Polestar. I think it's far and away our best 4-player map. Like, a considerable step up from Radeon, which is a considerable step up from Polypoid, probably.
Yeah. Polypoid, I'm a little bit tired of, to be honest.
I actually, I vetoed it. I'm pretty bored of Polypoid at this point. It's been out for a long time. I am a little too familiar with that map now. I think that Polypoid... Oh, thank you guys very much. From Vegas and New York. Excellent. Right. Appreciate you guys. Polypoid, I've definitely... I think we were all a little bit too excited by how good that map was, but it's probably time to phase it out on the ladder. For sure.
By the way, guys, one quick plug here before we go any further. Consider signing up for Patreon. It's patreon.com/ASL English. We would love to earn your support. We were only able to do this through the support of our fans and fans of StarCraft 1 and the ASL. So please consider signing up.
Yeah. Thank you very much to everyone who has. You guys have been just amazing. And we're just so excited right now about Brood War. Like, it's in such a good place. There's so many people playing, so many people watching. The pro scene is super, super active. Everyone's in great shape. And really, this ASL is lining up to potentially be the most hype we've ever had, with Flash playing what he says is his final one.
Yeah, we'll see if it's his final one, Artosis.
Yeah, we will.
This is Flash, who has made, like, I have no idea. I want to say literally like 4 different announcements where he's definitively quitting or coming back or doing something.
You're not wrong.
So I'm actually totally right. So I hope it's not his last ASL or his final one, but at this point in time, I do take what Flash says, everything he says, with a grain of salt.
For sure.
But either way, it's cool that he's here. I mean, the game would not be the same without him. And, you know, the fact that he's in this ASL and the fact that the last couple of ASLs have been so good, especially as far as like quality of games and the way the strategies have improved and meta is so interesting. It's good to have him here because we really get to find out, okay, is he still the best? You know, with how good players like Sulky or Soma or these other guys have been.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we're going to find out that, yes, in fact, he is still the best. I think he's going to easy 1-2-3 his way to a championship, but we'll see. I would love to be proven wrong there. Taking a look at these builds, like, very, very similar. Scan getting his command center a little bit quicker. Sharp is going to here momentarily. Sharp did go for an 11 gas, so his factory is a little bit faster. But as long as Scan plays defensively with his first couple of vultures, he should be totally fine, and the game should equalize pretty well.
So we've had a lot of games where it turns into this vulture arms race here, as they're both building up and accumulating. Are there any features on this map in TVT Artosis we want to watch for? Or is this, you know, one of these maps where it could very easily be split map like many other TVTs?
Well, certainly it could get split map. You don't normally see that on Polypoid. It's really hard. I mean, not Polypoid. On Polestar. Polestar has enough paths and is wide enough that it's really hard to fully split it. But specifically in these positions, if Scan can hold the high ground, he gets really far ahead. You know, that strip of high ground in between their bases, because the natural third base of Sharp is right there. If Sharp can instead push and take that high ground, then he gets really far ahead. It's a little bit easier on Scan's side, if you ask me, to get that positional control. But yeah, I really feel like that's what a lot of Polestar games come down to.
Nice. He's going to come in here. He does actually snipe off the Vulture, and he's going to get at least 2 into the main here. Ooh, 1 shot down before he can get in, but this is going to be a decent amount of damage here. Remember, though, that's 3 Vultures that can't be used to fight later on here. Another Vulture is going to come down, and the tank's going to pick this one off pretty easily. And I do feel like we're kind of seeing Scan maybe get a little bit ahead of himself. Killing SCVs is good, but, you know, he is dropping a lot of units, and we could end up seeing a counterattack that could be devastating, right?
Yeah, well, it's 1 factory starport, so that was, like, really good. Oh, no, it's a 2nd factory on there. My bad. So actually, that does make it a little bit better for Sharp than what I thought. So Sharp is going to bring up his siege tanks, and this is always a problem. If you stayed on Vulture for a long time and they start making siege tanks and go across the map, like, Sharp took early damage there. You can look at the numbers and Scans ahead, but the siege tanks can really pay off. And look at that. He's blocked him with the factory. Ooh. Oh, my God. This is so painful. Scan is right now making a tank, I guarantee. And, like, that... He needs that tank to come out very quickly. He's trying so hard to surround the tank, but Sharp is a bit too quick, and his 2nd tank comes up. Uh-oh, Taste. This game's almost done.
Yeah, I think he's got him here. Ends up killing off all the Vultures that slipped out in that attempted surround. The surround almost worked, but the last second, Sharp was able to pull away. He's got 2 tanks here and 4 Vultures. There's so much damage coming down. The SCV's in some ways getting in the way here of the tank that's trying to get back up. Onto the high ground. We've just had so many workers killed. He can lift up and use the barracks now to spot that last tank. It's, you know, being repaired, and I gotta say, this SCV is really keeping it alive for an extremely long period of time, but eventually it is popped and it goes down. And, you know, that was all the workers that were at that expansion.
Yeah, Scan is very close to dead right now. You know, Sharp just needs to kind of macro up and play a normal game from here. There's, like... There might be some tactics that Scan could pull off. Like, if he can maybe run around with his Vultures a little bit, lay some good mines, sneak in a little bit. Who knows? Maybe he can do a little bit of counter damage, but Sharp got really far ahead from that. And that's something that can be very painful when you're going Vultures. Like, Scan skipped the add-on to have the Vulture advantage, and his first 3 Vultures did very well. He picked off a Vulture, he picked off the 2 Marines, so his barracks could stay alive forever. But then he, like, ran in. He lost a couple more Vultures. The tank is counterattacking. His add-on was very late. You kind of need to match siege tank counts, right? Like, you can't let your opponent have a siege tank and you don't. And then because the add-on was so late, Sharp got 2 siege tanks. So it's just like a lot of things went wrong there. Sharp is kind of turtling up. It's definitely a much better position for Sharp. He has way more SCVs right now.
It's very straightforward here. I mean, there's no easy out here for Scan. I mean, there's no, you know, simple drop he could do. I think if Sharp plays a conservative game, it's going to be pretty easy. I don't think he's going to have enough Vultures to overwhelm this. The tank and a couple of Goliaths here with the Vultures of Sharp is basically enough, and you're just kind of playing from this very losing position. We've got the Academy coming down here. I don't know what the exact SCV count is on each side, but Sharp's has to be quite a bit higher. Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to the overextension with those Vultures that then allowed the counterattack with the tanks and Vultures of Sharp to really wipe out all those workers.
Man, this is a tough spot here right now for Scan. He's laying some mines, I think, which is good. Like, if he can lay a bunch of mines on the high ground, like going up the ramp, maybe he can take a good engage there. That's oftentimes like your best chance in a position like this. Oh, no. Oh, okay. He just got the SCV repairing the barracks. Okay, that makes some sense. I was like, is he actually going to try to beat that army? There's no way. But he has a lot of Vultures right now. So I think the big opportunity for him is when Sharp tries to transition from low ground to high ground, if he can engage with all of his Vultures at once in that area and have a lot of mines, maybe he can get a lucky mine in there and suddenly, like, tie the game back up.
Yeah. He's laying out a pretty good position here. I don't think we're going to see a third base on either side right away. I think right now Sharp wants to basically keep his lead, and I love the fact that he's accumulating those wraiths.
Yeah, it's very smart.
He's going to move out. Now, there are vultures ready to counterattack, right? At least 2?
I thought he might have left some down, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it could be mines. It's hard to tell on the minimap.
I don't know if Scan has an armory, by the way. Like, you wouldn't expect wraiths here. So this might actually really catch Scan off guard. If 2 wraiths show up at your base and you haven't started your armory, you end up losing, like, 17 SCVs or something. It's insane. It's, like, a gigantic number. Oh, okay, his armory's almost done, so that's good. That's really important. He has to bring a bunch of SCVs out to repair this. You simply can't let these kill your 2 tanks.
Yeah,
these 2 tanks
he's
are
going to run
crucial.
in now. You know, if the siege tanks are killed off up here, and there's already less, so they're much more likely to lose this fight, there's just no way to deal with this many tanks and vultures on the other end here. The wraiths are still here dealing damage, which means even more SCVs are going to be picked off. The final tank shot takes out that one less tank. A screen up is more tanks trying to lay out the bedrock for that defense, but I don't know that they're going to get it set up in time. This mine's going to take out that one. Oh my god, I think Scan is cooked.
Yeah. He is gone. And GG, yeah. Sharp going to go ahead and advance. Not a big surprise for him to end up getting out of this group. He was kind of the one both of us were thinking is the most likely, but he does end up getting second place. I think Scan definitely did play well today, but like, you ask anyone, and Sharp is rated amongst the very best at TVT. Like, he really is strong. Even from bad positions, he is so great at fighting back. Really a master of the tactics needed. And played really well there. I think that those wraiths were actually really smart. I did not think he was going to throw down a starport at that point. But expertly done. Scan, unfortunately, stopped at the round of 24 here. But I think he's basically entering the territory of ASL regular. Like, he is...
I think so.
He's strong enough that I expect him to qualify basically every time. And, like, in a different group, I think he could have top 16'd. This is a tough one, though.
Yeah, so in a very Terran-heavy ASL, 2 Terrans end up getting killed off here, getting us closer to that golden ratio. We expect many more Terrans to be bled out. Time for the interview.
And that does it for Group A of the round of 24 here at ASL Season 21, as we have our second player through to the round of 16 today. Please put your hands together as we bring Sharp out here.
조규석 선수 16강 진출 진심으로 축하드립니다. 일단 소감을
Wholehearted
들어볼게요.
congratulations are in order. Let's hear how you're feeling. I knew it wouldn't be easy, so I'm very happy to once again be making it through, and I'm thankful to be playing again. In the pre-game interview, you said you would try to enjoy yourself while you were playing, but having to go all the way to the decider match must have made it really difficult to actually be having fun. What was on your mind all throughout? I was super stressed. I did want to enjoy myself, but actually having to do it, it didn't work, so I had to get a grip. So today, you're moving on, having taken down Scan twice. What did you think of those games against Scan? I felt he really practiced diligently this time around. He played his heart out. But in TVT, I am his senior. So I knew I just could not lose that one. When it comes to TVT, you are tenacious, solid, safe. I'm sure many people feel these qualities to be your call sign. But today, there was talk of speed and sharp decision-making also being added to that TVT. What do you think of that? I think above all what I managed to take advantage of is the fact that my opponent is a bit lacking when it comes to offline experience, playing broadcasting matches. Well, you have a lot of experience in ASL and you are ever so determined to make it far. Many people will be curious to see how today's matches translate into that further on. What exactly, where exactly are you placing your goal this season? When I would get good results, it was whenever I aimed to enjoy playing. I have a good opportunity ahead of me once again, so I'll prepare well. and I'll take things step by step, calmly, one match at a time. Can't wait to see what this season holds in store for you. I'm sure many fans and your colleagues alike will be looking forward to it. Give them a shout out and tell them what to expect. I'm sure our university head Shijose is watching this, so big thanks to him and to our members who showed up in full force today. And above all, for helping me practice. Speed, Huro, JYJ Rush, and hold on a second. Oh, and Shiny in mind. Thank you. And, oh, most important, I was able to practice thanks to my wife. I'm sorry I haven't been too helpful. But now I made it to the round of 16, so now I'll go look after our kid. Very moving words as you move on to the round of 16. Looking forward to seeing your journey this season. Congratulations on making the round of 16. Thank you. Thank you. It's time to wrap things up here at Group A as we have our second player through to the round of 16 in Sharp, a true example of determination.
Well, there you have it, guys. Great results. Not the craziest outcomes. Cool to see Rain actually get out first here, but
yeah.
Look, Rain and Sharp, these are going to be great additions here to the round of 16.
For sure. Like, these are guys that if they're round of 8, you're not really going to blink an eye. So good to see them both advance. I'm glad to be wrong about Rain here. I was worried that he might be taken out because these guys are all strong in that matchup, but he looked very good today in PVT. Great plans from him. Now, our next group, Sulky, Ample, JYJ, Sock. So 3 Terrans here once again, but Sulky in this group has to be a heavy favorite.
Yeah, and I would say maybe JYJ, the other. I'm not sure. It's hard to say. I think all 3 of the Terrans are fairly even. They've all got their own strengths.
Yeah.
But regardless, we're going to at least get 1 Terran through, maybe 2. Although I think it's kind of hard to imagine Sulky not getting out of this group.
It is best of 1, so you never know. Someone just puts 2 barracks in the center of the map, he might lose, right? Yeah. So there's always like that randomness. But yeah, I would agree. Like, Sulky is clearly a favorite here. But we'll see what these guys want to open with. Honestly, I would like to see Ample just open up with 2 racks in the center. Just be like, screw it, man. You go hatch first. I'm taking this.
Yeah, well, guys, thank you so much for watching us. Again, as a reminder, we are going to be always airing on SOOP first. That is what SOOP is requiring of us in this broadcast. So we're on SOOP for a day or 2, and then we're on YouTube immediately afterwards. So if you want to follow the show right when it comes out, you just we'll put a link in the description, and you guys can find us there.
That's right. Guys, thank you very much for watching. A big thanks to all the Patreon supporters, and we will see you next time.